Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, and a little bit past, actually right on 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and it is Saturday, and I've decided that I will come back on because this week I did not do a straightforward AMA, and I try to do at least one per week if I can. I do get completely overwhelmed here or there. However, my daughter has rushed off back to college, so I have some extra time. So a little bit that I probably will be spending with her, I will instead spend with you. You might say, Larry, you have your AMAs, but you always start with some type of, some type of idea or something like I do all the time. And today I was thinking about something. People are yapping a lot about the election, obviously coming up in a couple of months. And many people are falling back to the old, lesser of two evils and blah, blah, blah. You must do X, Y, and Z. And I actually went to the idea that if we don't change the system, it doesn't matter. And that sounds kind of crazy, but I honestly believe it. People will say, particularly on the left right now, they're going to go, we're fighting for democracy. It's all about democracy. And my response is, we don't have democracy. We don't have it. I don't for sure. Most of you don't either. We don't actually have democracy. And I know what people say, and I hear all the time, Larry, it's not democracy, it's a representative republic. If you want to keep saying that every time someone tells democracy, you can. But when you say that, you kind of make yourself look silly. Not because you're wrong, you are correct. I'm not saying we aren't a representative republic. That's true. That is an accurate statement. You are not wrong. What I'm saying is, everybody knows what you mean when you say democracy, right? You're the kind of guy who, when someone goes, oh, the lead in my pencil's down, that's not lead, that's graphite. Well, yes, that's accurate. It's graphite. But when I say pencil lead, everyone knows what I mean. There's no confusion. It isn't like you're really going to grab a block of lead and shove it in your pencil. If that was going to happen, you would be right to go, don't buy that. That's lead. You require graphite. People do that. So first off, it doesn't mean anything. It makes people annoyed with you. That's what it does. But if you want to say it, keep saying it. People love it. You are correct. You're not wrong. You're not wrong in saying that. So I guess good luck. But the other piece, though, is in reality, locally, sometimes we are a democracy. Should be a democracy locally sometimes, meaning certain things are voted on locally by the masses. And sometimes in certain states, not New York, there are ballot initiatives that the local people vote on. So in certain parts of the country, and certain instances, we actually are a full-fledged democracy, depending upon what you're voting for. So that also. And I guess, lastly, how do we get our representatives? And that is, we vote democratically on them. So even though we are a representative republic, we do vote on them democratically. So my point is, everyone knows we're supposed to be a democracy. We're supposed to be, right? However you want to define that. My question, though, is, actually, are we? Right? Actually, are we? And in reality, I would say no. Several reasons. Reason number one. Well, Larry, you could say we're not going to be a democracy. It's not, because we vote for things. So we are a democracy. Well, okay, we do vote for things, right? So, and there we go. What I just about Democratic Republic, same shit I just said. You guys just missed me go off on talking about this. Yes, every time I bring up democracy, I have someone say this every time. We're a republic. We're a democratic republic. Every time. To my point that I said earlier, everyone knows what you mean when you say that. People say all the time, the Western democracies. We don't go, the Western democratic, no, we know what you mean when we say that. That's all. But anyway, my point being, actual democracy, I know, is mob rule, correct. And again, in certain cases, we do have mob rule. Depending upon the cases, there are certain cases I mentioned. Let me get out of this. If you guys don't get it, it's fine. Call it what you want. I don't really care. My point being, even at the local level, and we do have some democracies, where we do have things that we vote on, sadly, the federal government has so much control over local dollars that even if you had a democracy, it would not matter because the federal dollars will force your local group into doing what the federal government says anyway. So even if you had one, even if it wasn't, hey, let's all vote on this, let's make it a true democracy. Even if you had that mob rule, to Joel's point, wouldn't matter. I'm a dictator. I say so because I give you money. But not just that. Well, Larry, we can have a democracy. We can just write in what we want. No, you can't. Most states, you can't just write in what you want. You can't write in the person that you want to vote for. You can't do that. They will either stop, it's illegal in certain states. I think 12 states, it's actually legal. And other states, they have to authorize your write-in. Otherwise, it doesn't count. So in most states, even that, you can even write in who you want to get your vote to count. So that doesn't count either. But where I live in New York, we don't have open primaries. And you might go, open primaries is bad. In theory, I would agree with you, right? It's private organizations, private parties. But it's not in practice for two reasons. One, the people pay for the primaries of these parties, so they're not really private. Now, if the individual private organizations pay for their own, that would be different, but they don't. Not just that, these private organizations control the ballot, so they're not really private. So I get theoretically, we should not have open primaries. These are private organizations and they want to put their own people in. I get that in theory. In practice, they're not really private. We all pay for them anyway, regardless of whether they're members or not. So that's piece one. Piece number two, because I can't just make other parties because states won't allow me to, particularly like in New York State, I don't have any other choice. So I don't have the option of making other parties so I can make my own people. And then add the third piece, everything's so gerrymandered that the Democrats or the Republicans, depending upon how they're gerrymandered, win almost every election. So even if I could create another party, it wouldn't even matter. So again, where I live, as a perfect example, my city rep, my state rep, and my national rep are all Democrats. All Democrats. 6-1 Democrat Republican in my city. And a Republican hasn't won any of those seats in decades. In fact, now locally, the Republican Party doesn't even run a candidate, hasn't run one in 10 years. They don't even run a candidate anymore. They don't bother. So the primary is the election. I can't vote in that primary because I'm not a Democrat. So I either have to lie and say I'm a Democrat or just accept that, well, I hope we pick a good king or queen this time. That's where I am now. So there isn't a democracy. If we don't change the system, it is irrelevant. But Larry, this is the most important election of our lifetime. Boy, have I heard that shit every goddamn year, and it never has been. But Larry, if Trump wins, then there'll be no more democracy. If the Democrats actually believe that, they don't. But if they did, do you think Gavin Newsom wouldn't be running right now to save democracy because there'll be no election in 4 years? Every Democrat who thought they had any chance of victory would be running right now because they'd all want to get their last shot at the presidency. Of course they would. They know democracy isn't over. They know it's already been over for decades. They know it's already gone. The elites pick who they want to pick, and that's it. Trump is the final rebel, if that makes any sense. The Republicans screwed up in 2016 for themselves. I'm not saying for them. The Democrats had already from Nader and from Perot, they had already solidified the corruption within their party to where an out like Bernie Sanders had no chance. They'd already figured that out. So they already locked their party down. Bernie had no shot. The Republicans had dropped the ball. They didn't lock it all down. Might have been Tea Party people or something. Who knows? Republicans tend to bring you in and then crush you. Democrats just crush you. A little bit different in how they respond. So Trump got in. And if you know anything about this, the elites of the Republican Party hate Trump. The average Republican actually likes Trump very much. The average Republican does. The elites can't stand him. They can't wait till he goes away. Bill Maher talked about this on his show last night. He was saying, "You really want him to go, don't you?" Like, no, I don't. I don't want to know. But that guy hates Trump. He actually does. He said so. He's like, he'd rather him win compared to Harris. This guy's Republican. But he's like, I want Trump to go also. They want to go back to when it was Bush versus Clinton. They want that. They're like, that's their perfect world. So we don't have a democracy. We haven't had one in decades. This is not the most important election. They're all the most important election. If something's so important, it's too important to vote Democrat, Republican for. We've been doing this for decades. And now, if either Democrat, if whoever wins, if it's Harris or Trump, we're just ensuring that the system doesn't change. We're just ensuring it. It's terrible. Anyway, I've yapped away. That was my opening statement that I wanted to talk about. I'm happy to take whatever you guys want to talk about here. I don't mind at all. I'll grab a couple comments and we'll start walking down the road. So, all righty. Joe says, who will our next oligarch puppet be? You know, if this was 2 months ago, I would have said for sure it was going to be Trump. It was 2 months ago. I was pretty sure it was going to be him. Now I'm not sure. It might still be him. I'm not saying it won't be him. I don't know that. But I do think it's too close. And rarely, I should say this, not rarely. In the past, it was rare that debates really affected the election. Like it did, but not much. I think this next one next week, assuming it happens, I think it's still going to happen. Assuming it happens, I think will really affect a lot. For those you don't know, Trump is not going to be sentenced September 18th. He won't be. He's not being sentenced until November. What a great job, again, by our terrible judiciary to ensure that they kick everything down the road. Just well done. Kick the can down the road. And for Democrats, I think this is perfect. This is my view. I think it's perfect. If you're a Democrat, you should be happy about this. It ensures that Trump is still the bad guy without having to go to jail, right? So you still call him the felon. You can do your story about the prosecutor versus the felon. That's the storyline. So you can keep your storyline if you're a Democrat. But Trump doesn't become a martyr by going to jail. So I think Democrats are happy about this. I assume that to be true. And I think Republicans think, oh, good, he's not going to jail. Him going to jail might not have been a bad thing. He might have become a martyr. And what Trump had done well is he has like 4 or 5 surrogates now who can run around. So to be forward with you, Joe, I wish I had a better answer. I do think there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, it's a shoe-in for Trump. I don't think it's a shoe-in. I think Harris can still win this thing. I think Trump can win this thing. I do not think it is clear in my view at all. I think after the debate, I'll have a clearer view. I could definitely see either one of them winning. That's just my view. I think some of you would agree with me, but I don't see it. So Mark seems to agree with me. Thank you, Mark. The anti-party says elites representing elites. Accurate. 100%. Yes. Kim says our Constitution, or what's left of it, is all that's standing in the way of the New World Order being in place. Kim, I wish it was stronger. That's actually sad in my eyes, because what people rarely talk about, you hear me complain all the time, but what people rarely talk about is the people who are supposed to defend our Constitution in reality at the ground level are actually our judges. Our judges are supposed to be loyal to the Constitution. They're not. Our judiciary in general is an embarrassment. It has completely failed us. Our judges basically are loyal to parties, loyal to individuals, loyal to the party infrastructure, and rarely think of the people of the Constitution. And you hear them say all the time, judges will probably say, I have to follow the law. Literally, you don't. I'm not, people go, what? No, they have to. No, literally no. And I'm not making this up. Our Constitution is very clear on this. Judges don't have to follow the law. What do they do? For those of you who took civics, if you're under 30, you probably didn't. But if you're over 30, you probably did. What is the job of our judiciary? To interpret the law, not to follow it, to interpret it. Who enforces the law? The executive, either the president, the governor, or the mayor. They are supposed to follow the law. They don't. So the people who are supposed to follow the law don't follow the law. And the people who are supposed to check the law and interpret it don't do that. That's why we're screwed. Now, the brain dead, empty suits, empty-headed chimps in our assemblies and Congress, they make terrible laws. They don't even think about the Constitution. And I'm not even joking when I say they don't think about that at all. That's not even nothing. They just make laws for their friends. And the judges are supposed to go, oh, that law is clearly corrupt. So no, it's called checks and balances. Again, those of you who've taken civics or checked about any basic YouTube video on this know what I'm talking about. What do judges always do? I have to follow the law. No, what you have to do is follow the Constitution. How do I know that? You took an oath to defend it, which you ignored. And that happens constantly. So yes, Kim, you are correct, but our defenders, boy, they're weak. Right? Boy, are they weak. So yes. Mike Ross in the house. How are you, sir? This election isn't lesser evil, but substance. Trump, who has policies, versus virtue signals. Harris, feelings, no policies. This election is the first of its kind, but may become the norm, sadly. I don't think it's the first of its kind at all. I think we've been doing it for a long time. A long time. Feelings have been always very important in our elections, constantly. I would ask you, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, in the past 25 years, if you're a Democrat, what have you gotten? What have you received that made things better? If you're a Republican, what have you received that made things better? Of all the things they run on, they don't do it. They don't. And that's my other part about having a democracy. In theory, if we have a democracy, and to Joe's point, we should have a mob rule. If we agree to mob rule, well, the mob didn't want Trump or Biden. Got him. Until the Democrats decided no Biden and put in Harris. And who voted for Harris? That was, nobody. Because nobody wanted her either. So the democracy, or the mob rule, was supposed to have, doesn't even decide who we're going to get. Most people did not want that. In fact, more than 50% of Americans are not registered as Democrats and Republicans. They're registered as either independent or no party affiliate or something like that, or something other than Democrat, Republican. Where is that candidate? Wait. Nowhere. Nowhere. Those people get pushed to the side, crushed, destroyed by the media, destroyed by society, destroyed by other laws, crushed. So we're not getting what we want. In theory, if we were a democracy, we weren't getting it anyway. So I don't think we get anything. That's my whole point. I think we get anything. So yes, Joel says mob rule. Yes, absolutely. All righty. James says, do we have a democracy? I would say to that, as George Carlin put it, no politicians. Oh, the politicians are just there to give us the illusion that we have power. And I think that was my other piece, right? People feel like this really matters. Like it's really important. Like that, this is the thing that matters. This election is the most. Didn't we hear that? We've heard that, I'm not joking, since like 1978. We've heard that this is the most important election. I think Jimmy Carter was the first one to say it. It was 1980. Yeah, he said in 78 for 1980 election, if I'm not mistaken. 1980. First, oh my God, most important election of our lifetime. The end of the world. Well, that was now 40 some odd years ago. And the world hasn't ended yet. And we still have elections. So it isn't the most important one. None of them have been. Neither is this one. So I think you're right, James. It give us the illusion like we're saying stuff. We matter. You hear them say it all the time. We're going to fix things. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's terrible. So here we go. Ross goes, it's an indirect democracy. No, it isn't, because we don't actually vote. That's my point. Representative democracy. No, it isn't, because we're not really doing it democratically. So it kind of isn't. Like theoretically, yes, but I'm saying in practice, right? In practice is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Justin says we only vote to be taxed. No, we don't. They just tax us. We don't vote to be taxed. They just tax us. Doesn't matter what we vote. Like my taxes aren't going to get lower regardless of who I vote for. I could vote for all Democrats, all Republicans, all third parties. My taxes will not change based upon any of those votes. Not a thing. They will not change. I'm being taxed no matter what, and a lot. It won't matter. So, yes. Mark says, that's how they force the legal drinking age, federally incentive. Yes, that's how they force drinking age, Mark. Thank you. That's how they force speed limits. That's how they enforce many things. They say, we will give you the money. We take the money from you, and then we keep it. And decide if we're going to give it back to you or not if you do what we say. So, Mark, I'm going to break into your house. I'm going to steal your bed and say, you want a bed? I'll give you your bed back if you do what I say. That's basic government. I've just become a government agent. Yes, absolutely. The anti-corporatist says, but inside of the two-party system, a lot of our options are dictated to us. And also because campaign finances are so loose, whoever has the big money can swoop in at the last second and buy the election by putting out a bunch of ads. I'm going to cover two parts of this. First, inside the party system, federal judges have already said this. The political parties are under no obligation to give us a fair election. That is now announced by the feds. They've said that. No, they have no reason to do so. None. So it doesn't have to be fair, and it isn't. It doesn't have to be. So that's why it's dictated. Now, again, theoretically, am I okay with this? Again, we're doing theory versus practice. In theory, private company, private organization, I get it. But in practice, they're not private. In practice, we pay for their primaries and their elections. And on top of it, they control the ballot and voting laws. So they're not private. So that you're right, but that should not be the case. In addition, the finance laws aren't loose. We have more campaign finance laws we've ever had. They're not loose at all. They're just useless, but they're not loose at all. The finance laws are set perfectly to be confusing and to crush any independent or small guy or gal who can't afford a massive law firm. But they are not loose, my friend. That's not true at all. They are just complex, but they are not loose. They're very tight. We have more campaign finance laws we've ever had. It's not by leaps and bounds. Yes. And they've made it so complex that only the best lawyers can find loopholes to get around them. They're not loose. They're tight. So tight that if you're just a little guy, every time I've run, I've been attacked. Every time I've run, I had to pay fines. I always have to pay fines, always. There's no way I can know the laws. I have to get people and hire. I have to spend more money than I bring in so I cannot be fined. So they're not loose at all. They're just garbage. So minor switch on that one. So yes. Leah says, and write-ins are such a terrible concern. The goal behind this, Leela, is they don't want anything getting in the way. And they're worried that enough people might. So yes, absolutely. So Radical Nomad says, hi, Mr. Larry. It's been a whole, I think he means year maybe, since I saw you. When are you coming up to Western New York again? Probably this fall I'll be up there. I might start my full Sharpe coming up here in the fall. So I'll be back up there again probably this fall. So yes. The anti-corporate says, wait, do they pay for the Green Party primary? No, because the Green Party is not an official party, which is another reason why they wouldn't let them become a party. Yes, when they are a party, they have to pay for it. So yeah, but they made sure that didn't happen here in New York State. But when the Green Party is an official party, they would have to pay for a primary if the Green Party would run one. Now, the reality is the Green Party, if I'm not mistaken, has ensured that they do not have a primary. This is the odd part people don't know. Parties do not have to have primaries. Parties have their own bylaws, right? Which is, again, why they're kind of private. They can have their own bylaws. The Greens do something similar to what the Libertarians do, which is they actually have, they pick their nominee by convention. They can pick it by primary. If they do so, they have to apply whatever is the rules, and then the state would pay for it. Yes, if they were an official party in the state, and if their bylaws said they do a primary, the state would pay for it. Correct. That's how it would work. And the state, meaning the act like New York State, California, whatever, would pay for it. Yes, they would. But they're often not an official party, and they don't even do primaries, because how can you do a primary across the country when you don't have enough bodies? You can't do it. So, yes. Peace Logic, thank you so much for the super chat, $5. Attack on the Capitol was bad. Trump is accused of subverting democracy. How does that compare to ballot access being subverted by Dems and Republicans? Trump is accused of subverting democracy. How does that compare to ballot access being subverted by Dems and Republicans? Interesting. So you're asking me to compare the two. Well, I think it depends on how you look at that. If you look at it as the results, let's go two ways. The results of Trump was no change. The results, if you look at again, I'll go opposite way, but let me just do results. The results, there's no change. Nothing changed. There was still a swap of power. Nothing changed. The results of the Dems Republicans attacking ballot access is massive and huge, ongoing, every year, is crushing us literally. We are on our way to violence because of that. That's the reason. People who feel like they don't have a voice resort to violence. So if I'm comparing those two, the ballot access issue is far more important than that. Not even close. Now, intent. I don't know his intent, to be forward with you. If his intent is what the Democrats say it was, and he was trying to take over the country, then that would be worse, obviously. I don't know if that intent is there or not. I don't know. So I hope that answers your question at least. All righty. If I can go a couple more of these. Thank you guys for all these questions. I do appreciate it. All right. Dale says, Ray, RFK's latest email telling supporters in all states to vote for Trump is not wasting votes in red and blue states. And if you really want us to do this, we need to just drop out completely. Yes, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is a terrible idea. If you live in a deep red or deep blue state, and you know if you do or you don't, why in the world would you vote for Trump? I don't know why. It is a story they're telling people. Here is what I think is happening. Here is my thought. I don't know this, but this makes sense to me. Republicans in state parties need to raise money. That's critical for them. They'll get paid by that. They'll get paid. They'll grift. off of state money. So they have to make sure that you, as a state local Republican, put your dollars in so they can all get their paychecks. I'm not joking. That's a real thing. So they have to do that. Otherwise, how are they going to get paid, right? And the National Party doesn't want to have to support them by giving them checks so they can pay off all the grifters. They don't want to do that. So what are they going to do? You got to pay, man. Well, if the local Republicans are telling you to vote for Trump, I'm sorry, to vote for Bobby, why the hell would you give money to the Republican Party? You wouldn't, right? So if the local Republicans are telling you, well, support Bobby Kennedy and say New York, right? Well, then why would you give money to the local Republican Party? You wouldn't. They don't make cash. As is normal, follow the money. So what you're going to find in states like Oklahoma, where the Democrats have no chance of victory, they're going to say things like, you got to send a message, or you have to support Kamala Harris because she's got to have a mandate, or this is our year. Oklahomans don't like Trump that much. Harris can win, or whatever other lie they're going to say. None of those things were true at all. None of them are true. But that will motivate Oklahoma Democrats to give to the Democratic Party in Oklahoma when they know they're getting crushed. Well, the same is true in blue states. In New York, they're going to go, oh, this is the year Trump can win New York. He cannot. Oh, this is the year we got to give a mandate. No one cares about your mandate. It means nothing. These are just lies they say so they can raise money. That's why I think they're doing this. I think he was pushed. I think the state chair said, don't do this RFK thing. It's going to kill our fundraising. What are you thinking? We can't have our Republicans say vote for Bobby. We won't raise the money. I got my second house in Florida. I got a mortgage on that house, man. What are you doing? I wish I was joking. I'm sure those conversations are actually happening. Dude, I just bought my daughter a second car. What are you talking about? You can't do this. I need that cash. We need money to come in. Hell with that Bobby Kennedy Jr. thing. I'm sure they're thinking that right now. So that is why I do things like this, right? Generally speaking, in most state parties, it's a massive grift. If you're not in charge of the party. Sorry. If you're not in charge of the state. So like Democrats in Utah, Republicans in New York. It's just a massive grift. That's all it is. So you got to keep giving money to keep feeding that machine so they don't get paid. That is what I think happened. I think they'll complain to Trump, saying, my God, we're going to see our fundraising die. We can't do this. Please tell them that you have to vote for you or whatever. What lie can we tell them now? How can we sucker these people who still think that we're valuable in our state, which is completely gerrymandered out of existence? How can we fool them this year? Because every year they have to fool. Oklahomans have to fool Democrats every year, and New Yorkers have to fool Republicans every year. They don't get paid. So they have to fool them in some way. This is how they do it. I hope that makes sense. So let's see here. Marcia says, politicians do, non-politicians do not have a democracy. Oh, okay, got it. Or even a say in it. I think that's true. Look at all the things happening where we're all going, who approved that? Oh, right. Yeah, well, I was saying, who approved it? Right, okay, got it. Sorry, I messed up on the reading here. What the heck are we doing and who put that in place? So for some, I guess yes, but honestly, no. We, the peasants, fund it, but aren't invited inside. Marcia, I wish you were wrong, but you are correct. This is the issue I keep bringing up. People, we don't have the power that we wish we had. We don't have it. Absolutely. Thomas says, not only do they give the local governments money, they issue unfunded mandates. Yes, yes, yes. That take the local government's money to fulfill. Yes. Let me tell you what an unfunded mandate is. New York is terrible with them. Other states are too, but New York is exceptionally bad. What happens is the state government says, hey, local county government, you must pay for these things. Boom, 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 boom. These things you must pay for. And the county goes, well, we don't have any money. Too bad. Find an answer. But we don't have any money. You have to give us money. I'm not giving you any money, but you must pay for it. That's the law we wrote. We, the brain dead, empty-headed, empty suit chimps in the assembly have written this law because it will help out our cronies and friends. And you have to find a way to punish your own citizens to pay for it. And that's why the local county goes, now what do? I don't have the money. And I'd like to fix my potholes and stuff. And I don't have any money to fix my potholes. And then the federal government says, I've got some cash. You do? Yeah, I do. Treat your schools this way. Do as I say with your schools that way. Do what I say on your roads. Make these laws and rules that I deem so, and I'll give you money. And the county goes, well, I got to fix my potholes. And the state won't give me any money. And I can't keep punishing. I've already raised taxes on my own people. They got to throw me out of my house. Fine. What I got to do on what's the rules? Oh, no civics and just teach to the test. Okay, scratch civics. Fine. The federal government wants to teach the test. Scratch the civics things. Oh, don't do any BOCES. Just force kids to go into college so they can take out student loans and become in debt to the government. Okay, fine. Is that how I get my potholes fixed? Done. I'll do it. Again, I wish I was joking. I'm not. That kind of stuff actually happens. To his point, they're called unfunded mandates. There's a mandate, but no money. You must do, but no money. Have to find money. What's the second thing that happens all the time? Is counties that are broke go, I can't pass a law because no one will agree to a tax hike. So instead, what I'll do is I will make a new fine or fee. You parked on Sunday? Well, that used to be free. Now it's a $55 fine. So I start using law enforcement as a profit center. What else do I have to do? I've got to fix my potholes. And I still can't afford to fix them anyway. So I got to do something, and I got to get paid, and I got to get a raise. And I've given like 4 or 5 of my friends jobs here in the town hall, and they all have new cars. So I got to make sure they get paid. So I got to now raise taxes and fines and fees. I know sounds so horrible, but that's why, to Marsha's point, we say, who approved that? Who would do that? A guy who's got to pay his bills. A guy who's got 3 of his buddies in a payroll. He's got to pay them. They got a new house in Florida. Someone got to pay that mortgage. Well, it's going to be you. That's how that works. They constantly do it again and again and again. Unfunded mandates wreck our society. Unfunded mandates wreck all these things. And that's why you see it happening, Marcia, when you think, well, what am I doing? This is why. That's the actual piece behind it. Sadly, all the time I tell you, it is follow the money. Again and again and again. Yes. Leela says, basically, our government believes we voters can't be trusted. And they're correct, Leela, because we would actually probably get rid of them. They're not wrong. They're right. The issue is our goals are different. Our goals as the voters to make our lives better. Their goal is to make their lives better. We don't have, our goals are unaligned, right? Our incentive structure is broken because our goals are unaligned. So yes, that will be, you're correct in that. Guys, I want to ask if you like what I'm saying. I know I know I can be dark sometimes, but this is why I'm trying to fix things. A lot of people don't understand how this actually works. And once you do, you can change policies, right? Then you can change the policy. Once you break, to Thomas's point, once you break unfunded mandates, which is one of the things I mentioned when I ran for governor, I said I will end all unfunded mandates. There'll be none of them. I said something once. I told a county legislator, I said, imagine if you could start your budget at 0. And he was like, what? Like he couldn't imagine that. I said, no. You redo your budget for the year and you start your budget at 0. You can reboot the entire budget. He was like, yeah, I'm not joking. In many counties in New York State, 90% of the budget is eaten up by unfunded mandates. 90% is not an exaggeration. Sometimes, if it's a really bad year, over 100% of the budget is eaten up in unfunded mandates. Yes, over 100%. So literally, the county legislature has 0 money to spend and has to go beg for money just to fulfill the unfunded mandate. That's not every time, but that actually does happen to where they have no money, nothing. They owe money. So they just do what the federal and state government tells them to do, and then they go beg the federal government or the state government to pay the final bills. So you voted locally to have people, your representatives, do stuff locally, and they have no power and no money because they've been co-opted by the state and the federal government. That happens with states too. States that are too dependent upon that. Terrible. Terrible. So yes, I want to make sure you guys do see that. Guys, if you like this, please click that button that is like. Hip check it. Nose push it. Use your ear. I asked you to use your left thumb. Use your left pinky then. It doesn't matter. Any of them. Any of the digits you want you to click that button that is like. It's how I get past, you know who, Mr. Rhythm, Al, or Rhythm. Yes, 100%. So do that. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, please share. If you're watching on YouTube, please, if you don't mind, subscribe. Subscribe, click notifications so you know I'm doing it. You can also super chat me if you want to. You've seen a super chat already. That helps me out. Or become a member if you like. You can become a member if you want to also. Happy, a member. Click that join button on YouTube, Larry Sharpe YouTube. Become a member, $5 a month. Keeps me doing more of this and less of other things. I can spend more time hanging out with you guys. Absolutely hanging out with you guys. That's nice. Also, by the way, I'm also on Rumble. And I see you, Joel. Joe says, I'm glad you're using Rumble. I watch streamers on Rumble whenever that is an option. So I am on Rumble also. Larry Sharpe Rumble. If you want to go see me there, I'm also there too. And I see your comments there also. And Joel sent me $1. Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it. Every little bit does count. I do appreciate it. All righty. Let's see if I can do this here. Carly says, democracy on the ballot. Lol. She's right. Yes. She's right. Yes. Absolutely. Nomadic Cole says, just got back from sign waving, telling folks Kennedy is still on the ballot. Yes, and this drives me crazy. So many people are saying he's not on the ballot. He is on the ballot. You do have an option of voting for him if you like, and you should be able to vote for him if you like. Yes, you should be able to, right? If you don't want to, I get it, but if you should be able to if you want to. The anti-corporates, again, thank you for being a member. I appreciate that. 100% on the gerrymandering. They let the representatives choose the people instead of the voters choosing the representative. Correct. That's what gerrymandering is. They say, and again, I went back and I said, who's failing us? Judges. The Supreme Court. Shame on them for not taking a stand on gerrymandering. This is crushing us. The most important right when it comes to our elections in any way, shape, or form is not where, how. It's that we can vote for who we want. Most important. Well, all of a sudden we start gerrymandering everything. Well, then, no. They pick, the parties pick their people. So they gerrymander on purpose so they can win every single election. Yes, absolutely. The anti-corporate says 2016 was the most important election of our lifetime. For me, that's true. That was a chance when Gary Johnson had a shot at getting 5%. So for me, personally, that's accurate. That was the most important because they had a shot. The second most important was me in 2018 when I thought I could break 5% in New York State. Sadly, I was disappointed by both Gary Johnson and me. Neither of us broke 5%, but we were both hoping for it. So yes. James says, if as Mark Twain said, if voting actually meant anything, do you really think they'd let us do it? Well, that's the point. This is Leela's point, right? They don't trust us. So they've got to make sure that our voting doesn't mean anything. They've made a system so that our voting doesn't mean anything. So yes. Ashley says, I am teaching my kids that voting for a candidate who was found guilty of felonies, liable for sexual abuse, and is out on bail for $200,000 is the right thing to do. It's not shameful. Here is my issue on that. And some of you might get mad, some of you won't. Doesn't matter. I always say what I feel anyway. I don't care about any of those things. So you'd be upset. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. What I'm saying is the person, whether they are a felon or not, whether they're on bail or not, are they going to make this country, this nation better? Or are they going to keep it in its permanent state of decay? Right now, we are in at least a 25-year, if not more, 25-year state of decay. Just going downhill. Any way you want to measure it, any way you want to look at it, we are worse than we were 25 years ago. In every way, the country is worse off. We are not doing well, and it's been constant. A little blip here or there, but just constant going down. Who's going to fix that? I don't care if he's guilty of felonies. And some of you, no, it's character. I don't care. I mean, I don't. I wish I had the option that there were so many awesome people running that I can go, well, they're all great, and that guy is a terrible guy, so maybe I will vote for him because the other people are also great. Here is what I'll ask you to think about. If you are a dedicated Democrat or Republican, if you're a dedicated Democrat, you probably hate Trump and think he's a terrible person. If you're a dedicated Republican, you probably hate Harris and he's a terrible person. Tens of millions of people are picking the other person over yours. So however bad you think the other guy is, that's how bad they think your person is. If you're a Democrat and you hate Trump, Republicans think the same way about Harris. If you're a Republican and you hate Harris, Democrats feel the same way about Trump. So nobody's winning here. So yeah. But thank you for that, Ashley. I get your point. Roz is with you. Me too, Ashley. He's with you. Right with you. Yes. The anti-corporatist says Republicans aren't offering any compelling policy prescriptions. I mean, make it illegal for states to pay for kids' lunch. Who's clamoring for that? I think what Democrats, Republicans are pushing now more than anything is still the fear-based, right? Pick me or the world ends. Pick me or the world ends. And I think a lot of, I think even in the press, you see it. You see on Fox or MSNBC when they're shilling for either side, the other one is the end of the world. I don't know. Justin says, Trump can't save these people now. Russia and the BRICS nations are breaking the printing press. When they stole the election, God raised other nations to crush the evil. I'm not saying they did that with the election. You can get me canceled, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, YouTube. Don't take me off. I'm not, because you can't say those things, Justin, on YouTube. Rumble doesn't matter. Rumble will keep me on. X will keep me on. Facebook will keep me on. YouTube's the only one. As you guys know, YouTube, they are the hammer. So if you are watching YouTube, I'm not saying that. That's Justin saying that. I'm not saying that happened. I would never say that happened. I would never say that, YouTube. Mr. Rhythm. Algorithm. I would never say that. Justin, you're wrong. You're a bad person, Justin. Sorry. Anyway. So in any case, let me deal with your other issues if I could. Trying to keep my my corporate overlords happy. So I think your point, though, is a critical point that most people are not talking about. And that is what you're saying is basically the de-dollarization of the world. Our attempt to control the world is backfiring tremendously. And there is a de-dollarization. And there are some people who are happy about Justin, and I understand why they would be. I don't like the way it's going. Do we have to end the Fed? We do. Do we have to audit it and change it and shift it? We do all those things. What I'm worried about is a crash, right? I don't want displacement and discomfort to be so high that things begin to collapse among ourselves, right? I think it does have to happen. I can't see another way around. Eventually, the Fed has to end. We have to. What I don't want is just a gone. Can you imagine our system that every part of our life is based upon the Fed? If you're much more of a prepper type and aren't on the system as much, you'll be fine. You'll get over it. The vast majority of Americans are completely slaves to the system. You know this, Justin. The vast majority of Americans are. They're completely on it. I'm heavily on it too. I have a little bit off that I can deal with, and I have friends who are way off. I'm libertarian, so of course I do. So I can always move to those friends if I need to. But a lot of people are really slaves to that system. If it goes away like that, I'm in the discomfort, displacement would just be, it would be crushing. So I think you're right. We should be thinking about it. We should be finding a way around it. We should be having a way to somehow. Bobby Kennedy Jr. is the only person I heard who really brought up an idea. You may disagree with it, but at least he's talking about it. He was talking about giving our money some backing, and backing with things like some precious metals, but also Bitcoin. And then that will be what would back our money so we could get rid of the Fed. Now, you might disagree with that specifically, but if that was the conversation, I'm in. Then I don't care about BRICS, right? Because we can figure out a way to back our money, to have sound money, right? For those of you who know what BRICS is, BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's what it stands for. Those are the original five nations that got together to say, we are going to be able to create some type of organization that can push against American monetary hegemony. That was the concept. Now, since then, lots of other countries have joined the BRICS nations, but it's still called the BRICS from those original five. They were like the secondary nations, I guess, in the world who weren't from Western Europe, right? Was the concept behind it. So many other countries have joined the BRICS since then. Initially, they were going to create their own type of currency. It was going to be called the BRIC. It was like the dollar was going to be called the BRIC. And it was going to be based loosely upon gold. Now, people who thought, oh my God, they're going to back it with gold. They're not backing it with gold. That wasn't the goal. Now, that might happen in the future, but it was not to be backed by gold. It was to be pegged to gold, which is kind of, I mean, I guess better than the dollar, but it's kind of fiat, but kind of not. So it's a step in the right direction, Justin. That's what I would say. That's what the BRIC was supposed to be. They decided since then that I know of recently that I've known, they're not doing that anymore. Now they're just saying we can just use our own currencies. So now we're trading in rubles or trading in the renminbi or trading in whatever. They're trading in the other currencies of those five nations. Right now, heavily Russia and Chinese currency. So that means, for those who don't know, until this, about 90% of all international trades were done through the US dollar. So even if like Russia was buying from India, they would do it in dollars. It was the reserve. It still was the reserve currency, but the vast majority of all of that. So of course the world needs dollars. Well, we can keep printing. Money printer goes burr. Why? People always need dollars. Keep pumping them out. Keep pumping them out. Well, now we're looking at the bonds that people are buying. They're not flying off the shelf anymore. They're not. Two reasons why. One, the BRICS that Justin brought up that people aren't talking about. But the second piece is people now, countries now are saying, wait a minute. So if America gets mad at you, they'll freeze your assets. What? So the dollars that Russia had, an asset they had in dollars, America said, we're just taking them and giving them to Ukraine. I'm not joking. They went, that money you have? Yeah, it's now our money and we're giving it to Ukraine. Now, you might think Ukraine is great and we should help out Ukraine. Okay, I don't want to support that war at all, but maybe you want to support that war. Okay, should we support that war by robbing people? I would say no. I think that's worse. And should we do it by robbing a literally nuclear capable country? I would also say no. And if we want to be the reserve currency, do we want to keep doing that to everyone? Right now, I'm not joking, a third of the world is being sanctioned somehow by America. America sanctions a third of the world in some way. So why would I want $1? When America gets mad, they'll sanction, and they'll sanction people. They'll sanction a third of the planet. Seems kind of dumb. What are you BRICS guys doing? I might want to join you. That's what's happening now. So I went a bit long on that, but Justin, you are correct. Your point is a very valid one. It's an important one that people aren't talking about anywhere near as much as they should. And that I know of, there's no plan. Now, there might be a plan, but it's not public. Like, I haven't heard anyone talking about it. There's no plan, except Bobby Kennedy Jr. talked about making sound money. And that was the defense. And I think in the long run, that is the best. That is the best. That's the best long-term answer, is for America to have solid money. I know some people think I'm too soft on this, and they really want this to happen tomorrow, right? Just end it tomorrow. I get the emotion on that. My worry is the discomfort, displacement would just be too much for our country. I don't think we can handle it. It would cause far more pain than required. We've got to find a way to make it. And I think Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s idea of making solid money is the best long-term answer. Just my view. I hope I dealt with that. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Matt says, the rants are always double plus good. Oh, thank you. Yes, there we go. Radical Nomad says, this is Andrew. Oh, Andrew, how are you, my friend? Yes, Andrew, yes. I still have your shirt from Jara Farms. Yes, out in Allegheny County, right? Did I get that right? Allegheny County, out in Allegheny County, Jara Farms, Western New York. I still have your shirt, so thank you. Yes, and when I'm traveling again, I'll be giving you a call. So yes, I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. All righty. Kim says, kick the can is still the game. I wish it wasn't, but yes, it is 100%. The Anti-Corporate says, yeah, 2 months ago, I would have bet on Trump too, Larry. This debate will be pivotal. Either Harris has learned to debate or Trump will shell her. You know what? I think Trump will go all out against Harris because that's his personality. I think he will go all out. And the question is, how will Harris handle it? That's my view. I think that'll be the key part. Will Harris stand her ground, toe-to-toe, and fight him? If she does, she gains. Everyone knows Trump is an aggressive debater. A good debater will come at you hard and does not care at all. Everyone knows this. No one's going to be shocked by that, right? We know that. What people don't know is, can Harris withstand it or not? And before, I don't know either. I don't know her well enough to know if she can. No judgment if she can or not. We'll find out. If she can't, and she begins to back down or falter, she's finished. There's no way that America is going to elect her if she falls back to, oh my God, I'm broken and Mr. Trump got me. Again, not saying she will, don't know her at all. I'm saying if she seems to fall back, Hillary didn't. I mean, Hillary still lost the election, but Hillary was like, I don't care what you say. She was fighting right back. Hillary wasn't scared of him. Hillary was fighting right back. Assuming she'll be the same, then it'll be based upon, does she say anything that makes sense compared to him? But that's the first piece people are looking for, because they're saying that she's weak. That's what they're saying. She's Mamala, she's weak. That's the story Republicans are going to say. Will she fall into that or not? Or will she stand strong? Again, Hillary did. Clinton did. So if she does, that won't be an issue. She'll stand strong. The other thing will be is, will she say enough things that make sense compared to him? Trump can ramble too, right? Trump can ramble too. But Trump tends to be striking with his attacks. Harris tends not to be, right? She tends not to be. So she had that one story that she did that just trashed Biden, but that was kind of her only story. Does she have one of those for Trump? If I was her team, I'd have 4 of those for Trump. For those of you who remember, she was talking about the, if you remember during the debate she had in 2020 with Biden, she had one great story that just trashed Biden. She's like, oh, back in the day, I'm going to paraphrase it. There was a little girl on a bus going to the first integrated school that you were against, Joe, and that little girl was me. Basically saying he's a misogynist and a racist, and in Democratic primary, knife to the heart, right? Great story, great attack. I paraphrased it, but it's basically that. If I'm prepping Harris, I'm going to have 4 stories like that, 10 stories like that, ready to hit, because that's what she's good at, right? Prosecutor tells a story about how bad a guy is. Do the story with the bad guy. I'd have 3 or 4 of those ready for Trump if I was prepping Harris. I think that's the only way to do it. You get 2 or 3 of those that land, a couple of those that are viral, people start saying, okay, she's the one. I think that's the way to do it. That also something else. If you remember when Biden was running in 2020, when did the Democrats get so excited? They got super excited every time Biden would say things like, I'm going to take you behind the barn and beat you up, or whatever semi-pseudo folksy thing he would say about beating up Trump, whatever. Teach you a lesson in the parking lot, or whatever he would say, right? Democrats ate that up. They were like, yeah, go beat up Trump. Yeah, orange man bad, punch him. They love that. That's red meat. That's red meat to them. If I'm Harris, if I'm prepping Harris, I'm at like 3 or 4 of those. Here's how I'm gonna get you. Here's how we're gonna beat you up. Whatever's the thing, And you do it whatever is the appropriate mamala way. I mean, I'm not good at that right now. I mean, I have to think on that one, but whatever. Find a way to do it the mamala way, whatever that is. So she keeps her mamala, boss babe energy, right? That, and then still gets to beat up on Trump. Oh. If it was me, that's what I'd be telling her to do. That is, I'd work only on that. Now, do I think they're doing it? No. Why do I think that they're not doing it? Because of that literally terrible, terrible interview she did with her dad. I'm sorry, Waltz, her dad. With her dad. That was a terrible interview with her dad. So, look. Here's how I'd be impressed, anti-corporatist. If I'm completely wrong, and they have done the amazing feint, and that was to throw guys like me off to think that she's not ready, but in reality, she was always ready, and she was just prepping 4D chess, prepping for Tuesday night. I'd be thoroughly impressed, and you will see me come on Wednesday if that's true, and I will say I was wrong. Oh my God, that was great. I will give her complete credit if I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. We'll see, but I will absolutely come on and go, I was totally wrong. She was doing 4D chess. I will do that, but I don't think so. Yes, I don't think so. So, all right. Mountain Mama says, what would happen if you go to jail? Would RFK Jr. take his place? No, that's not how that works. Well, okay. Let me give you theory and then reality. In theory, if Trump were, okay, first thing is Trump is not going to be sentenced till November. They've moved it. They kicked the can down the road, so he's not going to be sentenced until November. But in theory, if he were to be sentenced in the original time, which was September 18th, and he goes to jail, that doesn't change anything. He's still being in jail doesn't stop you from running for office. People have won from jail before. It has happened, and doesn't matter. So literally, he could absolutely still run. But could he? Meaning, could the Republicans decide to remove him? In theory, it could be possible on certain states. Could be. In practice, never going to happen ever. Never going to happen. I see literally zero way that happens. But just legally, theoretically, could they remove someone? At that time, on many states, they could. Some states have already sent out the ballots, so those that you couldn't. But could you force the states to reprint ballots and resend out stuff? You could legally, theoretically, But Mountain Mama, that is not going to happen. Never. Don't plan on it. Never going to happen. So I want to give you the legal answer, and then but the Republican Party would have to have some kind of a special convention, and then all decide to get rid of him, and then find some kind of vacancy committee to replace him. And it wouldn't have to be Vance. It could be anybody else. And so could they say RFK Jr.? Probably not, because RFK Jr. is not a registered Republican. And it's probably in their bylaws. You have to be a registered Republican to be in their bylaws to be a nominee. So even if that crazy thing that the Republicans would decide to have a special convention and remove, I mean, you see how crazy, I'm basically saying I could jump to the moon tomorrow. So I'll stop talking. Legally, yes. In practice, 100% no. I hope I answered your question at least. So yes. Ashley says, why is Trump losing in every national poll on RCP except for Rasmussen? Matt Rasmussen. And why is he only leading by 1 point in the most right-leaning polls? I don't know if that's for me or not. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, whatever it might be, I definitely see. I definitely see that the upcoming debate will shift everything. I'm not prepared, right, to make a call on that, regardless of what these are saying now. I'm not prepared. I'm going to grab someone from Rumble. I do appreciate it. It is Big Bear. Highway 59 says, I can hear her now saying, my big mama would have taken you out behind the outhouse and tore your butt up. Very nice. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. So if she said something like that, Democrats would, they would squeal with glee. They would so love to hear something like that. I don't know if that's her. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She could all of a sudden become super black all of a sudden if she wants to. She can become like super black all of a sudden. Wasn't she like cleaning greens in the tub or something? She'd become super black and say that. My big mama, blah, 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 even though my big mama was Indian. But anyway, you get my point. That kind of thing would motivate Democrats tremendously. Republicans would be all over it, talking trash. But again, in this election, no one's trying to turn the other. They just want more turnout locally. They want their own turnout, right? I think I mentioned this to you before. Democrats know that there are physically more Democrats registered in America than Republicans. They're aware of that. They know it. They know if they get an 80, 90% turnout, just the bodies will outgun the Republican bodies. If the Republicans don't have a big turnout, 50%, 60%, 70%, and Democrats get 90, 80%, Democrats will win just on sheer numbers. And that, I think, is their goal, right? So if you're a Republican, you go, that's terrible. I hate that. They don't care. They're not counting on your vote. They know you're not voting for them. They don't care. They hope you get pissed off and stay home. They want you to stay home. They want their people to come out and vote, and they want you to stay home. If you're a Democrat, they want you to be excited. So you can tell your friends to come out, your friends who don't care. You go, oh, did you hear that mom on the joke? That was awesome. Come on out and vote. They want, that's what they want. They want to make the buses come out with people voting. So again, they're not trying to convince someone else. Luda says our judiciary are completely bought. Sad, but true. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Sassy D says, still struggling, but still listening and learning. Thank you, Larry, for all you do. Got a quick question. You heard about Republicans teaming up with Dems to use mail-in voting in bad ways. Again, for my YouTube overlords, I'm not saying any of this is true or not true. I'm saying nothing, YouTube overlords. I did not hear about that. I don't know how that works, to be forward with you. Teaming up? I will have to look into that, Sassy. I didn't know that was the thing. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm saying I haven't seen that. I haven't looked it up. I'll have to check that out. I will look at that. I actually don't know. Missy says, please drop a like for the Al Gore rhythm. She is right. You should do that. If you like what I'm saying, please click the like button. As always, if you have not subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, Larry Sharpe YouTube channel, why do you hate me? What have I done to you for you to hate me? Please also click the bell for notifications. You want the bell, click that bell for notifications. It does matter. If you can do it, every little click does matter. If you want to super chat me, you can. Happy to have you on board. If you want to just not super chat me, but instead just become a member, $49 per month, click that join button. And that helps me out every single month. We keep rocking and rolling. So that still does help if you want to go do that. In addition, See if I grab one more of these. Yes. If you want to share, please share. Share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, whatever your case may be. Every little share does count. So, alrighty. Sean says, can you share the story of your German flag under your American one? Sure. For those who don't know my background, I'll give you a brief story because you asked. For those who don't know my background, I am half German and half black. That is my background. I am black on my father's side, which is why my last name is Sharpe, and that my mother's maiden name, which was Meixner. So my father was in the army over in Germany, met my mom there right after World War II, met her there. They got married, came over, and here I am. Now, that's what I thought for years. So my mother divorced my father when I was like 2 years old or so. I was a youngin'. I didn't really see him again. So Sharpe, his name was Paul Sharpe, was my father. And family that I have now in Florida is the Sharpe family, in that area. So my mother married another man. His name was Dawson. And when she married, she didn't marry him. She lived with him, and he raised me. He's my father. He raised me. And he died. He died when I was 11. And I was fatherless after that for the rest of my childhood. And he was a veteran. He was an Air Force veteran. So my Paul was an Army veteran. He was an Air Force veteran. And when he died, he got a flag that was given to my mother. They were common law married in New York State. And that's the flag. That is my father's flag that they gave him when he died. He's buried out in Calverton Cemetery, the military veteran cemetery. And that's his flag they gave her when he died. My mom died about 10 years ago. And right before she died, actually, when she was ill, she had cancer. And when she was dying, she gave me his flag. And that is my father's flag. But here's the odd part. I called him my father, even though he wasn't my biological father. When I was 30 years old, I was thinking, hey, I need to go find out some of my background, right? Am I going to be ill or sick? I need to go find my father because I hadn't seen my father since I was 2 years old. I hadn't seen him in 28 years. So I said, let me go find my father, do some homework, figure out, hey, do I have like cancer in my family or heart disease in my family? So I call my mom up and I say, hey, Ma, let me find my dad. And she goes, I got something to tell you. I said, what? He's not your dad. What? Not your dad. I found out when I was 30 years old that I was adopted. Yes. Crazy story. I didn't know until I was 30 years old that I was adopted. My mother was not my biological mother. And then who I thought was my biological father was my adopted father. And the man who raised me was neither. So I said, okay, so I'm 30. And here's the worst part. I thought I was German, hence German flag. I speak some German. I tease people and I speak a little bit here or there. I have family in Germany. I thought, okay, whoa, wait a minute. Am I German or not? What am I? I don't know. She says, I don't know. She gives me the paperwork that she can find when I was adopted. I know some of you are like, what? True story. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decide to take a bunch of ancestry tests. You know, the 23andMe, Ancestry. I take like 3 of them. I take a bunch of them to figure out, because I know that each one is different stuff. So I'm figuring out which one is which. So as I go down the road to figure it out, I'm thinking, what am I? I could be French. I could be British. I could be Norwegian. I don't, what the hell do I know? I knew I was half white. That I knew. I didn't know which part where I was from. So I do the DNA test, check them all out, and come to find out, I'm actually German. What the hell are the odds of that? It's actually true. My actual biological family came from Germany to England and then to America. So yes, but I'm actually from, I thought I was from northern mid-Germany where my mother is from, but I'm actually from southern Germany, Bavaria, Austria. That's where my family actually comes from. So I'm German after all, even though I didn't even know that. I know, insane story, it's true. And the black side of my family, I am a descendant of slaves. My black side comes from what is currently Nigeria and Cameroon. I'm part of the Hausa tribe. It's a tribe that, which is I think now many of them are Muslim now in that area. Of course, I don't know anybody because that's slave day, so I would never know who I'm Sharpe. For those of you who don't understand Black history, I know many of you do, but some of you don't. Sharpe is basically not a family name that I can go back and find in England or something. Sharpe is the name of the people who owned my family in America X number of years ago. Now, I don't know which ones they are because I never found my biological father or mother. So I never found them. What I do know of them is my biological father was in the Navy. So I hit all of them. My biological father was in the Navy. I'm here in New York. That's why I knew I was born. He was from Brooklyn, and he was in the Navy. My adopted father was in the Army, met my adopted mother in Germany. The man who raised me was in the Air Force, and I'm Marine. So I got all four of them. So you can't mess with me and my family. I got all four of them all mixed together. So I am American and a veteran, hence the flag, the American flag on top. And I also have German ancestry, hence the Vaterland, Deutscher. Ich bin Deutscher. So yes, I am both American and German. But actually, I'm just American. I just have German ancestry. So, and I'm not ashamed of it. Some people are ashamed. They're like, I'm not ashamed. I don't care. Don't forget something. The guy with the funny mustache, that guy, he was Austrian. Take that, Austrians. Anyway, so you asked, you got a story. You wanted a story, you got one. If you like that story, give me a damn like. So there we go. Take the like then. That's all good. All right. Let me grab another one of these if I could. Peace Logic. I was born and raised in Germany. Born on July 4th. My father is a veteran of the Air Force. He passed away. I have the same flag. Mother is German. Crazy. Yes. Meine Mutter kommt aus Bad Homburg. So for those of you who speak German, a little bit of that for you. And my German is not great. I do speak some, but it's not great. It is very weak. I haven't spoken it in years. My youngest daughter is now learning German, so I'll chat with her about that. Should be interesting. So yeah. All righty. Let me grab some more of these if I can. Terry says, that's an incredible story, Larry. It is kind of weird. I know it's a weird story, but it's true. It's a weird story, but it's still true. Yes. Christine says, that's an awesome story. Yes. Kind of funny. Yep. Sarah says, you can't have much more of an American story than that, Larry. Yes. I mean, I'm adopted. I have kids. It's funny. When I got married, before I got married, I was talking to my wife at the time, and I said, look, I want to have kids, right? That's the thing. And if you're getting married, obviously that should be something you talk about, right? That you all agree upon that. And she got mad at first. She was like, oh, she just thought like I was saying that she wasn't woman enough if she couldn't have kids and like that. I'm like, no, I don't care if you have kids. I'm adopted. Why would I don't care if you have kids. I want kids in life. We got to adopt or whatever. I don't care, whatever. Just, I want to have kids in my life. And then she's like, oh, it's not an attack. I'm like, no, I just wanted to have kids. I didn't care what God. I mean, I'm adopted. Of course, I would think. I wouldn't care if you adopted kids. Do you? I just wanted to have kids in my life. That's all. So Justin says, Semper Fi. Semper Fi, brother. Great story. Lila says, 100% American. Yes, there we go. Alexa says, I'm German as well. My father's side's name is Blaubach. Nice. Nice. I appreciate that. Yes. Oh, Mark too. Ich bin Deutscher. Yes. I appreciate that. Deutscher versus Deutscher. A little bit different. Yes. Deutsch being the language. A little bit different, but yes. Sassy says, smash it. Thank you. Thank you. Every little bit one is true. Yes. Yes. Very interesting. You are diversity. See that? There we go. Yes. You look like Navy, Leela. Marine plus Navy. Yeah. Let me be very clear. All right, Leela. Marines are part of the Navy. We're the men's department. Little attack on my Navy. I'm kidding. Sailors, I love you. I love my sailors. You know I do. I love my sailors. You know I do. I'm just teasing you. So yes. So the anti-corporatist says, any work on Kick? I have done none. I have been far too busy, but I will look at Kick. I will. I don't know how Kick works and how I can stream at the same time as other places also. I'm not sure how I can do that, but I'll be looking at that. So yes. So Terry Mitchell says, start budget at 0 after voting any incumbents out perhaps first. You know, if you could start at 0, and here's the thing, Terry, if you could actually start your budget at 0, you would have to vote for all the grifting up front. Would make it harder to grift. Does not mean that you would not grift. It just makes it harder to grift because now I have to vote on every grift. It isn't baked in. So that's why it will be easier and it'll be less incumbents because less people grifting. It's not a cure-all by any means, Terry. It's just better, right? Kalita gets it, right? Kalita gets it. Is an unfunded mandate a bribe? Absolutely can be. Of course, right? Because here's what happens. You see it here in New York City. A perfect example is New York City. New York City says we have a rat problem. For those who don't know, New York City has, I'm not joking, over 3 million rats. Yes, over 3 million rats. 3 million is more. There are more rats in New York City than there are people in almost every city in America. Only two cities have more people than New York City has rats: LA and New York. There are more rats in New York than there are people in Chicago. Just saying. In any case, more people. There's more rats in New York than there are people in Houston. So we have a rat problem. So you think, well, how do you fix the rat problem? Well, maybe you kill the rats. One idea. Maybe you change the environment, right? Maybe that. Maybe you go hunt the rats. Maybe you put in predators that eat the rats, right? There's many ways you could think about that, whatever the thing might be, right? Do these things. No. What our mayor said was, we're going to change what kind of garbage cans you use so they can't get into the garbage. So he makes a mandate. Every single person, this is for landlords versus for local governments. You all must have this special kind of garbage can. And of course, who gets the project for the garbage cans? People he knows. Of course. That's a mandate being a bribe. There are many of them. And my point being earlier from Terry, you now have to vote for each of those bribes separately. Again, doesn't stop it. Makes it harder because now I can see it, right? That makes it see it. So yes. Just Me says, to me, most important election in my lifetime because mandates, not visit family in hospitals. Oh, yes. Forced masking, doctors losing license, not going along with the jab, WEF treaty, CBDC trying to come, censoring. All those things, Just Me, I would agree with you. Here's the problem. If we don't change the system, if we don't get them this year, we get them in 4 years. So we delay that issue. I'm not okay with delaying it. I want to end it. I don't want any of the things you mentioned there. I want none of them. And before the way we do that is not by relying on only one person. It must be systemic change. Otherwise, the change will be just temporary, right? We said already. We saw Biden try to undo everything Trump did. We saw Trump try to undo everything that Obama did. And then if Trump was this one, whatever, President AOC or whoever we get, President, I don't know, Ro Khanna, whatever, whoever we get is going to try to undo whatever Trump does, right? And it's going to keep going. That's why I keep talking about this. So yes. Lunar eclipse. Larry, America is neither a democracy nor a republic. It's an oligarchy plutocracy. You're right. Not fighting you. Rival elites fighting for control with similar goals, whether it's here, Moscow, Kiev, Beijing, etc. I think you're right. I would agree. The question is, how do they do it, right? Because in reality, there has to be a system that allows them to do it with a facade of legitimacy, right? That's the issue. When there were kings and emperors, they would go, well, the gods said I'm the king, and that was the legitimacy. The priest said it, right? He did his magic powers, and the sun rose, so I'm the king, right? They would do that as a form of legitimacy. Ours is democracy, in air quotes. That is our facade of legitimacy. See, we voted for it. Therefore, I can be your queen because we voted. That makes it okay. And sadly, most people go, yeah, I guess it's okay. We voted for it, so take all my stuff. So we kind of do that. Let me go to Rumble if I could. Joel says, Kick popped up after Twitch got too greedy. An example of free market theory in action. Oh, I'm on Twitch. So maybe I should get off Twitch and get on Kick. Hardly anyone watches me on Twitch. I get like 5 viewers total on Twitch. It's hardly anyone watches me. I get a couple hundred on Rumble. I get very few, like 5 on Twitch, hardly any on Twitch. And then I have Sharpe and Larry Sharpe. My Sharpe ones are in case I get canceled on Larry Sharpe, so I have them. But on Facebook, I get several hundred on Facebook, maybe 1,000, depending upon if you count both up. YouTube, I get anywhere from low end, a couple of hundred each one, high end, a couple thousand, depending upon on the show. Twitter, I tend to get about 500 to 1,000 on each. I have 2 Twitters. So yeah, so you add them all up. I get thousands of views when you add them all up, but individually, I sometimes break 1,000 individually, but some of them are very small.
I rarely, here or there, YouTube. Once in a while, I'll do it on YouTube. I'll get 3,000-4,000 just on YouTube. Once in a while, but I've got to break Mr. Rhythm. If I don't break him, it doesn't work. So please share this so I can break it. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Cash rules everything around me. Get the money, dollar bill, y'all. That, by the way, is for those of you who don't know, that is from that great Staten Island band. From what was that? Is that 2000s or 90s? I don't remember when that came out. Method Man led that one, if I remember right. CREAM, Cream, Cash Rules Everything Around Me. Yes. Anyway, so as they say, the crooked letter I. That's it. Space Jackson tells me like you 90s. Yes. I can remember when that came out. 90s. Appreciate that, Space Jackson. He's paying attention. That was on Rumble. Thank you for that one. That was 90s. Yes. I can remember when that was. Yes. All righty. Keep going down here if I can. You guys give me a lot of stuff. I do appreciate it. So, all righty. Merlin says, I will vote for the least punishment from my oppressors. There we go. Yes. There we go. Absolutely. So, all righty. Robert says, Larry Sharpe, is there an organized and concerted effort of getting third-party candidates to 5% of the vote? Do you think multiple candidates can get 5% threshold, which would lie behind one? I think there is literally zero chance, and I mean zero chance, of multiple candidates getting 5%. I can't imagine that. I see literally no possible way of that happening. What I do think is maybe Bobby Kennedy can do it. That's the answer. He's the only one who can. Depends upon how he begins to change what he's doing coming up here in the next week or so. Right now, he's doing a lot of stuff for Trump. I get it. But then is he going to make a shift? And I hope he will. I think we have to. We are looking at a concerted effort. Yes. Has it coalesced yet? No, it hasn't. And the thing, I think it is most people. I mean, his switch just came a week ago. I think most people haven't really processed it, if that makes any sense yet. I was actually on board immediately, like, no, 5%, no matter what. I was on 5%. Other people are still thinking, do we want to? Should we not? I see it online all the time. Do we want to do this? Is it all about that? Is it about this? Is it about that? Email comes out. Then he posts something on Twitter and then takes it down and then puts it back up. So I think we have to, no matter what, have an answer by next week. I think after the debate is a critical piece. After the debates, that's when we will know, okay, how are we going to do this? When are we going to do it? What states? Also, you're seeing ballot access still. He's losing ballot access in certain states, gaining in others. We don't know what states we're going to deal with also. So my answer is yes, we will, and there will be one. It is not here yet. I don't think it can be yet until next week. The 10th, if I'm not mistaken, or 11th is when New York has to make a decision on whether he'll be on New York or not. That will also affect probably California too and other states. And the debate will be over. So I would say by next Friday will be my guess. We'll have an actual plan of what we're going to do. I hope that answers your question, Robert. Ryan says, thank you for the $5. I appreciate the super chat. When it comes to our system, it's all about the Benjamins. Money trumps everything, including policy and common sense. Very true. But to remember something, though, it doesn't actually trump everything. And then I want to put a nuance on this. You don't have to outspend your opponent to win. In fact, the person who spends the most money does not always win. But you have to have a certain level of money to get in the game, if that makes any sense, right? So if you want to run for, say, governor of New York, do you have to raise $25 million to win? No, you don't have to. That's how much the last Democrat, Hochul, raised $20 million. And I think at that point, I think before her, Cuomo raised like $20 million again. Do you have to raise $20 million to win? No. The Republican raised, I think, once like $8 million and one time like $11 million. So no. But if you can't raise $3 million, you're not even in the game. You're not in the game. I raised $500,000. That's why I wasn't in the game. I got 2% of the vote. You're not in the game if you can't raise $3 million. So there's a minimum ante, if that makes any sense. Like you have to have a certain amount to get in the game, but you don't. So in other words, if I would raise, say, $6 million to run for governor, could I win? Yes. Now I'm in the game. I could win. If I raise $3 million, I'm in the game now. Doesn't mean I'm going to win it all, but now, at least now they're thinking about putting me in debates. I'm able to buy the polls. As you know, Ryan, you got to buy the polls. I could buy polling.
I could buy advertisements. Now I'm in the game. I raised 6 million. Okay, now I have a shot at really placing. I raised like 7, 8 million. It's a winnable race. Now it becomes winnable if I get that kind of money. So I don't have to raise 20 million, right? Not required. But if I don't raise at least 3, I'm not even in the game. I'm not even in the game. I raise 6, I'm in the game. I raise 8, it's winnable. So I think that's the way it is. I don't have to outraise, but and that's different for every state, different for every race. If you're in the presidential race, you're not in the game without 25 million. You're not in the game without 25 million. And Bobby Kennedy raised that, right? With his PACs and himself, he raised that. So that's why he was in the game. The other guys aren't in the game. Barely. Gary Johnson was in the game in 2016. He raised 13 million. And he was kind of there. Like he was made a couple of things. People saw him. He was there, like kind of. If you can't raise 13, and that was 2016. In 2024, 2028, you got to raise 20 million. Or you're not in the game. You're not in the game. You want to have a chance to really have an impact, you got to raise 100 million. You want to actually have a shot at winning. A shot, not get you a shot at winning. You got to raise 250 million. You raise 200 million, 250 million, you have a chance at victory. I'm not saying you're going to win, but you got a chance at least. So I think you really got to look at the amount of money is get you in the game. You don't have to outraise everybody, but it's just, I wish it wasn't true. I wish what I was saying was absolutely not true. It mattered on your character and your policies. But it's the old time, you hear me say this all the time. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how great your policies or your rhetoric is, or even your principles are, if nobody hears you. Nobody hears you. People have to hear you. So, yes. So, anyway, all right, let me grab some more of this if I can. Let's say, Lynn says, Sarah, yes, you're right. I missed my history lesson. He would give with his answers. Oh, thank you. I do try to give history. I try to give them sometimes. I do. Yes. So, all righty here. So many of these. Ryan said, my dad loved the Biden telling Trump, will you shut up, man? Yeah, thank you. Yes, Ryan. They love that. They ate that up. They were, they absolutely love that. Yes, absolutely. Christine says, Mama can't come up with a single policy. She doesn't have to. She can just do what, she can just do what Ryan said. Say she's going to go beat him up or something. And the Democrats will go, who these policies? When I have Kamala beating her up. Oh, policies are, no way. I got Kamala saying cool things about how she's going to beat up Biden. So it's great. Joel says, Kamala called out Biden as a racist in the 2020 debate. Later, when I asked about it, she said that it was just campaign talk, which means lying is campaigning, in campaigning is fair game. Not just that, if you're more of a Republican, when I said she may be upset, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The Republicans go out of their way to say that Harris is some kind of crazy communist lefty. She's not. To your point, Joel, she's nothing. She's none of those things. She's whatever. She's only a crazy lefty commie if she thinks that'll get her elected. She would be a Republican if she thought that would get her elected. That's why I mentioned this before. So many of the further left Democrats were very happy when she picked Waltz. Waltz actually has policies. He actually is a lefty. He's a believer. He has actual principles. They're left principles, but he has them. So when he picked her, the left parts of the Democrat Party said, oh, good. So she'll just, because she's just nothing. So she'll just adopt him. She'll become a lefty. Oh, awesome. So lying is her way of life. She's a prosecutor. Prosecutors lie all the time. If you're a prosecutor, be mad at me. You know it's true. Prosecutors lie constantly. That's part, and it's all to get the bad guy. Do it all the time. And it's legal, by the way. Prosecutors can lie. That is absolutely legal. And they do. So she's okay with that. So, which means lying in campaigning is fair game? No, lying period for her is okay. She doesn't care. No, she didn't say my story changed. She says my principles haven't changed. And that was not a lie. Her principles are do what it takes to win. That's her principles. And they have not changed. That was not, when she said that, that was not a lie. She said, my principles have not changed. Accurate. Her principles are do whatever it takes, say whatever it takes, adopt whatever policy will make me win. So to your point, yes, she's only a communist or whatever if she thinks that'll get her elected. Again, she'd be a libertarian tomorrow if she thought that would get her elected. She'd be like, look about me, this is awesome. If that will get her elected, she doesn't care. So that's why she changes. She changed her policies day to day because, oh, we like that today, we're that. Oh, we're bombing people today, we're that. Oh, people don't like us bombing, we love them. That's all. So just to be clear, yes. Peace Logic, thank you so much for the $10. Brian Stevenson heads the Equal Justice Initiative. Are you familiar with him? I was horrified to learn long ago that kids are being charged as adults. Scary. Any candidates addressing this issue? There's a group, there are people, but no candidates. Groups of people are, but not candidates. I don't remember a candidate. Let me try to think of one if I could think of any. Brother, I can't think of any who are doing that right now. Who are putting that front and center, I should say. I can't think of any. No, there are a couple of groups. I had one group on recently, not recently, 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, who was talking about this, and I forgot who they are now. All right, now I got to work on that. I got homework. Hold on, team. If you're listening, remind me of this, please. This was I had someone on maybe 2 years ago covering this. I have not seen a candidate about this at all. So you just give me homework. That's fine. I'll do my homework. I will teach you. I'll do my homework. So yes. Ryan says Vance Waltz debate is where fireworks happen. Yes, that will be the funnest debate. You are right, Ryan. I mean, it probably won't have much impact, but yes, that will be the most. They'll just be attacking each other all day long. That'll just be two dogs in a junkyard fight. 100%. Yes. So, all righty. Constitution Party candidate Okigi. I'm not sure what you're asking me. I do know him. I met him at Freedom Fest. Yes, I met him at Freedom Fest this year. Terry. Oh, what's his last name? I'm sorry, I forgot. I feel bad. Yes, but he's actually a nice guy. I don't know if you met him. He is a firebrand. Like he gets the crowd moving. That guy is like, I'm right. This is the thing. This is how it works. I'm righteous. He is a firebrand. He does move the crowd. People pay attention to him. I feel bad I forgot his last name. But yes, it's Terry something. I met him. He's a nice guy. I like him. I do like him. So, there we go. Sorry, Michael. Randall Terry, not Terry something. That's why I couldn't remember his last name, because Terry's his last name. Thank you, Michael. Yes. Randall Terry. That's his name. Randall Terry. Yes, absolutely. He definitely is, he's definitely a firebrand. Definitely a firebrand. And I saw him. I like him. Yes. I think he's a nice guy. All righty. See here. Yeah, you'll give me Randall Terry. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, Randall Terry. Yes, there we go. Absolutely. Thank you. All righty. Christine says she had originally picked Josh Shapiro, but went with Waltz, so she would offend the anti-Israel nuts. She wouldn't offend? It wouldn't offend. Yeah, Christine, I heard that story. I don't know, to be forward with you. My gut says, this is what my gut says. She was worried about Michigan and Wisconsin. That's what she was worried about. And her people told her, you pick Shapiro, you have lost Michigan. You have no shot at Michigan at all. Surrender Michigan and probably surrender Wisconsin too. You're probably gonna lose both of them if you pick this guy. But pick the folksy, guy from Minnesota. We'll send him over there. He'll put like a cheese hat on or something, and you might actually win it. You got a shot at winning these guys. Could work. And he's a lefty, so maybe it'll work. Throw him over there, and you go someplace else, and we'll promise Shapiro something like he'll become secretary of this or ambassador to that, and he'll shill for us across Pennsylvania. Generally speaking, someone like Shapiro, who is niche enough, but you want him on board, you offer him something. Now, that, by the way, is against the law. Quid pro quo is against the law, but they do it all the time. All the time. Just not using that publicly, but all the time. So they promise Shapiro something, whatever the thing he wants, or maybe they promise him to run for, senator after he's done in Pennsylvania or whatever is the thing, right? They promise him something, or maybe even cash. When you're running again, we'll throw the Democratic Party will throw $10 million into your campaign, whatever, right? They promise him something and say, do me a favor, shill across Pennsylvania. They like you, do that. Stay out of Michigan because they hate you. Stay out of Michigan and we'll be good. So I think that's what happened. I don't think she's savvy enough to make the decision. I'm not trying to insult her. Actually, I am trying to insult her. She's not that bright. She doesn't know how to do that. Her people made that decision. I don't think it was her at all. That's my view on that one. I don't think it was her. And they told her why you like Waltz. And I'm not joking. They went, you like Waltz because this. She went, okay, that'll get me elected. Yes, that'll get you elected. Then I like him because that. That's what I think. Yes. Jesse says, Kamala said Joe Biden will not ban fracking. She has not definitely said she will not. Yes, she did. Yeah, she said she said she did. She said she's not gonna because she said you can. She's not gonna ban it, and she said you can do the thing you wanted without banning it or whatever. And this goes exactly to my point. Does she care about fracking? No. This is exactly my point to Joel. No, she doesn't care either way. If she thinks that'll get her elected, she'll ban fracking. If she won't get elected, she won't ban fracking. That's it. That's what she'll do. She will do the thing that will give her power, and she'll change her mind completely. If she wins this election and she runs again, she'll go, oh, fracking bad? Hate fracking. Oh, fracking good? Love fracking. She'll just change and she'll say the same thing. My principles haven't changed. And that will be a true statement. That may be the only true statement, but that will be a true statement. She will not care. So yes. Grace says, if Kamala had been raised in a hard red state, she would have gone MAGA day one. She'd have a red hat on in a heartbeat. You're 100% true, Grace. You're 100% right. Yes. Yes. Right? Yes. The anti-corporate says they can lie legally within certain bounds. Prosecutors can say whatever they want. Anything. Anything. There's no bounds. Anything. There's no repercussions whatsoever. As long as you don't lie to a judge. I'm sorry. Let me be clear. You can't lie to a judge. Other than that, whatever you want. All kind of stuff. I've seen prosecutors just make shit up all the time. Normal. And you'll get an objection here, whatever, maybe, but no punishment. They just make things up. They can put stories together that are barely fit and just say it is true. And unless you have a savvy defense attorney who will literally step up and go, objection, here's why, here's the evidence, boom, boom, and then counter it. If you don't have a savvy defense attorney, they get away with it. You just can't lie to a judge. Lie to a judge, you're in trouble. But to a jury, every day of the week, all the time. To someone they're trying to get to confess, every day of the week, all the time. Here's what I know. They say that. Here's what I know, anti-corporatist. I know you were here at this time with this, and we got evidence showing you this. We got your friend next door who already said he already sold you out. All a lie and utterly legal, totally legal, all a lie. He already sold you out. He said that it was your idea. He said you did it. He already told us this. So you're going to flip on him or not? All a total lie. You say it. And it's normal. So yeah. Anyway, just want to be clear on that. They just can't lie to judges. Otherwise, all good. Literally, totally fine. There's no punishment whatsoever. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Jesse says, Larry, who are you voting for that RFK dropped out? He didn't drop out. I can't tell you this enough. He did not drop out. Did not drop out. We will have a decision on whether he's on a ballot in New York State coming up here probably by next Tuesday, Wednesday in that area, because that's when you have to. So yes, he did not drop out. He simply is off the ballot in about 10, 15 states right now. We'll see. So yes. All right. Justin says, your comments on money are why this country's last government will fail. No faith in the system. You, Justin, are so correct on this. And this is why I keep saying this. One of the reasons why I act the way I act here, you see me say things that I honestly believe, even when it makes some of you upset, you don't like to hear it, but I try to give you all respect, regardless. I try to give people, even who I don't like, credit where credit is due. When they're doing the right thing or a savvy thing, I tell them, I say it, this was a good move. I don't like the person, but it's a good move. I respect the game. I try to do that. I try to give you complete and utter transparency. Someone asked me my flag just now, and I told you all that I was adopted and found out until I was 30 years old. Utter transparency. Why? Why would I do that? Because the only way to change what you just said, Justin, The only way to change it and have faith in the system is if our system has literally years of raw transparency, years of it, maybe decades, but for surely years of it, until you, Justin, can look at it and go, all right, man, you look bad on that one. You look good on that one. Okay, maybe that was real. Maybe I believe you. And eventually go, okay, you know what? You showed me everything for X number of years. I'm in again. And we're nowhere near there. Justin, we are nowhere near there. We need to be. We've got to be at a point where we can just show everything. Again, Bobby Kennedy Jr. talked about using the blockchain to make government completely transparent. Would we see some of the horribleness? Yes. Would people look bad? Yes. But Justin, if I want you to trust the system, this is the only way. I have to be blatantly, obviously transparent for years. And then finally you'll go, all right, you've shown me everything. You've kept the kimono wide open and showed me all the goodies and all the baddies, everything for years. I trust you again. That's the only way. And that means people will get in trouble. Bad things will happen. There's no other way than that. And I'm doing it right now. I'm showing it that I will be that way. I want to be that way. I want others to be that way. As some of you have heard me say many times, I can have you mad at me. I can have you think I'm wrong, think that I'm dumb, all those things. That's a bad take. They have a bad take on something. Yeah, Larry's wrong on that. I like Larry, but he's off on it. He's completely wrong on that. Okay. What I can't have is you not trust me. The second you don't trust me, our relationship is broken. It's broken. Now it's, I don't trust that guy. Larry's full of it. Versus he's wrong. That guy's dumb. I don't like what he says. He shouldn't have said that. Okay. You and I can come back from that, Justin, right? If you think I'm wrong or have a bad take, we can work through that. We can have a conversation. You know what, Larry, we're going to disagree. You're wrong on that. Let's keep going. You can still do that. But once you say, I don't trust that guy, we're done. We're done. Right? That's the issue. Joe says, if a libertarian runs for office, but voters don't do their research, libertarian run. If he got ballot access, how about that? Is that good enough for your riddle? If he got ballot access, Joe, yes. Or, two things. If he got ballot access, number one, and or, I hope both, but I'll take either. Did he motivate somebody else to run? Then yes, he ran. How about that? If he got ballot access and or he was able to get someone else to run, yes, then that's true. So there we go. All righty. To know Gary Johnson's love him. I love Gary Johnson. I do. I thought he was great. He's the one who got me here. Yes. Jacqueline says, is there ever any money left over from candidates' campaigns? Oh, you guys do not want to hit it. Jackie, did you just open up a terrible bag? I'm going to piss some people off now. Yes, I am. Jackie, I'm going to piss some people off now. All right. For those who don't know this, when you give money to a candidate and they don't spend it, they can keep it. I'm not joking. Now, there's rules what they can do with it, but they can keep it. So in 2022, a guy was running for office for governor, besides me, obviously. I was trying to. I kept the ballot. But the guy running it was a guy named Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin was a congressman out of Long Island, New York, Republican. He was running. I said, you cannot win. It is impossible to win. The guy before him who was running was a guy named Mark Molinaro, who ran out of Dutchess County, another Republican who ran. He couldn't win either in 2018, and Lee couldn't win in 2022. It was impossible. And of course, the Republican Party, the leadership, lied and said, oh, this is the year you're going to win. Don't worry, we're going to win. Utter lie. There's never going to win. And to be clear, I predicted everything. I said Lee Zeldin was running because he was afraid that he was going to lose his seat. He was a congressman on Long Island, and that year they were redistricting everything. Redistricting. He thought, oh my God, I'm going to get redistricted. I'm going to lose my seat. What do I do? So the guy who was running the party is a guy named Nick Langworthy. He was running the GOP. He's now a congressman. He was running the GOP in New York State. He had been lying for years, saying this is the year we're going to beat Cuomo, back when Cuomo was still the governor. Then Cuomo stepped down. In steps in Kathy Hochul. He said, we're going to beat Kathy. We're going to win. Give me money. Give me money. People threw money at him. The Republicans in New York State bought that lie and threw literally millions of dollars at him. He said, my number one job is just to beat, first he said Cuomo, and then beat Kathy Hochul. That's it. I said, he's a grifter. He's going to go do something for himself. That's what I said. I then said, oh, Lee Zeldin, he knows he's not going to win. Here's what Lee Zeldin's going to do. He's going to raise a bunch of money. Once he's done, he's only going to spend about half of it. He'll take the other half, which he gets to keep. He'll put into a PAC, right? He'll make a political PAC. He'll put into a PAC. Then he'll become the executive director of a PAC that he put the money into and pay himself a salary for the next 10 years. Jackie, what do you think Lee Zeldin's doing right now? He leads a PAC. He put the money in. He's paying himself a salary. I said this. I have receipts. I said this publicly. That's what will happen. That's what happened. I also said publicly, I said out loud, I said he will lose by between 5 and 7 points. He lost by 6. Again, if you don't believe me, people were there. You can go check the homework. I did check the time I said it. I did it at a live event that was being recorded. I said it 100% true. I predicted the result to 1 point. Why? I know my state. I cross it every year. I know the people. He had no chance of victory. None. 0. And I knew what he would do. And the system works. When you are done running, all the money you have, you keep. So people very often buy themselves jobs. One way of doing it is starting a PAC. So he started a PAC. And now, because he's a director of a PAC, he now can go on Fox News and talk as my PAC, blah, blah, blah. It's him paying himself. He bought himself a job with donor money. That's what he did. Another way to do it, by the way. I didn't want to open a PAC. No worries. Here's what they do. Jackie, you have a think tank. You have a think tank. And your think tank talks about, I don't know, medical freedom. That's your think tank, right? It's called Medical Freedom USA. You have that PAC. You have that think tank. And you make policy decisions for people and give out policy papers. It's your job. And you don't have that much money. Don't worry. I'm going to run for governor. I run for governor. When I run for governor, I raise $10 million. I spend $5 million. I have $5 million left and I lose. What am I doing with that money? Well, I can do anything political. What do? I donate my $5 million to your think tank. And you go, wow, thank you, Larry. And I go, hey, I'm going to do that. But man, I bet you could use a new executive director at a salary of $250,000 a year. And you go, you know what, Larry? I could absolutely use a director for a 10-year deal at $250,000 a year. So I become your executive director. You pay me $250,000 a year for 10 years, $250,000, right? Yeah, $2.5 million, right? For 10 years. And I gave you $5 million. You made $2.5 million, so did I. Everybody's happy. I bought myself a job. Happens all the time. So yes, there's often money left over. That's how they grift. I keep telling you, politics is a massive grift. Massive grift. Why do you think nothing gets solved? Why would they solve anything? They can't grift. They got money to make. You're in the way, Jackie. I got money to make. You're in the way. So yes, please move along. Go to jail. Pay your fines. Pay your fees. I got money to make. So yes, happens all the time. How do you think these guys all of a sudden, after they leave, become something else? How? Did you all of a sudden become an expert in that field? No. You just bought yourself a job. Jackie, if I gave you $5 million and the only deal was you give me $250,000 for the next 10 years, you would say yes. Nobody who's watching or listening would say no to that deal. None of you would. You're like, yeah, great deal, Larry. So you give me $5 million? Yes. You got to pay tax on it. No, nonprofit, no taxes. Damn. So then I give you $250,000 for 10 years. Yes. Damn, okay. And I get to have the title of executive director or whatever I call myself, whatever. You don't care what I call myself. I call myself king of the world, whatever. You don't care. I just gave you $2.5 million. You'll give me whatever title I tell you. I want to be called Super Chief Cool Guy. You're like, yes, that is your title, Larry. Thanks for the money. For $2.5 million, there's not one person who's watching who wouldn't call me whatever I told them to call me. Whatever. Yes, you are Lord of the universe, Larry. Thanks for $2 million. Of course you would. And that happens all the time. So you opened up that can of worms and made half the people who are watching want to throw up. But it's true. Yes, but it's true. 100%. Leela says, campaign money becomes salary. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yes, absolutely. So yeah. All right. Sarah says, thank you for the $5. I appreciate so much the super chats, guys. I really do. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. If RFK Jr. is blocked from the cabinet, what kind of position does he get? Tulsi probably also blocked. Can they really join a swamp? Yeah, two things. All right. Number one, we don't know if they're blocked. The question is, what happens to the Senate? If the Senate is heavily Republican, there's a chance he can actually get a cabinet post, which is why he is just simply on the transition team. After the election, we'll know what's going on, right? If the Senate is heavily Republican, he's got a shot. They might make him a cabinet. If not, we don't know. Now, Tulsi is actually still popular enough in Democrats where she could probably get selected, even if it's not so strong Republicans. She has enough connections, Democratic side, being a veteran also, she might be able to get through. Depends on what they want to do. Like they want to make her like Secretary of Defense, something like that, Secretary of State. She might be able to get that regardless. But Kennedy is going to, no Democrat's going to vote for Kennedy. Remember, Kennedy's a hardcore traitor, right? So maybe. So what'd you do? You create something like, have you ever seen them say things like, he's going to be the drug czar or the border czar or something like that? That's the appointed post that they'll make. So he'll appoint them to that post that does not require Senate confirmation. So he'll get something like that. They'll basically make him a post. They'll call him health czar or whatever. And then they'll just say that's what he is now. The idea of a cabinet is actually not in the original Constitution. Cabinet was set by precedent, right? George Washington created a cabinet and created all the names, secretary of. If you notice, America has secretaries. The rest of the world has ministers. And most of them have ministers because of the idea of, ministers going back even to religious ideas, ministers actually in the East have ministers also, prime ministers, from that idea. We don't have ministers, we have secretaries. And George Washington started that. That's all done by precedent. Then in the coming adjustments and amendments to the Constitution, the cabinet is mentioned, but the cabinet wasn't in the original Constitution. So I hope that was clear to explain that. So, all righty. Let's see here. The anti-corporatist says, I forget what Paul Ryan is doing, but it's so kind of hookup job. Like yes, that's what they do. Yeah. The other thing they can do also is they take that money and they can use it for political things. So what they can do then is get a job with another company. So let's say, for example, I've been raising money for years. I've been in Congress for 20 years. I got 15, 16 million in my account. I'm not going to run anymore. I stopped running. Well, I got $16 million in my account. What do I do with it? Well, I can start a PAC and pay myself. Option one. I could give, Jackie into her think tank and give myself a contract to do that. Or I could say, hey, Alexa, you work for so-and-so company and you would like some stuff done. She goes, yeah, I would love some laws changed. Awesome. Why don't you hire me as a lobbyist? And now I become a lobbyist. And I can use all that money to help lobby, spend money, advertising, whatever the case may be. So I can do that instead. So I can spend that money on advertisements. So Alexa runs whatever. We want to put real graphite in pencils company. She wants that. And people don't like graphite. So I spend tons of money on a graphite awareness, whatever thing. And Alexa pays tons of money for that. Works. So as I spend the money out of my fund for politics, the money Alexa gives me is now just my money, right? So Alexa's paying for this thing. I'm taking it as a consultant and then using my political money to do the political stuff. So Alexa is basically laundering money. Does that make sense? Right? So Alexa's saying, I want this campaign so that people will like my graphite pencils. Okay, great. So I then say, that'll cost you $16 million. She goes, okay, great. I'll pay that. I want that. So she gives me $16 million. Now, in theory, I'm paying my company or me, my LLC, my company, whatever it is going to pay $16 million for that thing. I don't have to. I got a PAC. I'm sorry, I don't have a PAC. I've got my campaign money with $16 million in it. I'll use that money. It's political. It's fine. It's political. It's fine. So we're going to try to change the laws to make it illegal or legal, whatever Alexa wants, right? We're going to change the laws to do this, to make some kind of, awareness program, whatever we're going to do. I use my campaign money for that, and I keep her $16 million. I just laundered the money. So many ways of doing this. So he might have done that too. Who knows? Might have done that too. Yes. Leela says, you are massive universe. For $2 million, Leela, you would call me that. I know you would be like, oh, $2 million? Yes, Larry, you are indeed. Thank you for the money. You are indeed the massive universe. You are so super cool. Of course, I would tell you that too. That's fine. I get it. Yes, absolutely. Says, I like that name. How can Trump prepare for debate when Harris hasn't published any of her policies? When they debate issues and related policies, disadvantage Trump. Very true. That's 100% true. It's one of the reasons why people don't come up with policies. I'm not joking. If you remember, this stopped around 2000-ish in that area where people stopped putting up policies all over the place. They used to do it all the time. Why? Because what happened is the enemy would go through your policies with a fine-tooth comb, find anything dumb that you said, anything wrong, anything bad, focus on that and attack everything, all about it. Oh, Leela, your policy about cups clearly shows that you want the people of so-and-so Michigan to lose all their jobs making cups. Leela, why do you hate people of Michigan? I don't know why you hate them. What have they done to you? That kind of thing would happen constantly. Find some hole. And that's going to cost the people of Michigan $40,000. You think they all have that kind of money, you evil person, Michigan hater, Leela? They would do that kind of thing. So stop doing it. So they stopped. A lot of people won't do it. You are right. Trump, why do you think? And they did it. If you remember, it doesn't matter what Trump says. Why? Because the Democrats now have that Project 2025 thing. Is that what it's called? Right? Project 2025? That. They literally read from it during the DNC. Literally. What I just said they stopped doing in 2000 because of Al Gore and his whole, my plan has blah, blah, blah. And they just ripped Al Gore to pieces. And he was like, I shouldn't have done that. People were like, don't do that anymore. Project 2025 comes out. They're reading from it and just finding anything that sounds horrible and go, see, this is Trump. He wants to murder everybody. That's what they say. So, yes, you are correct. That's a long way of saying, yes, you are correct. The disadvantage is Trump's, right? Because, look, Harris's entire campaign right now is all vibes. Now, I know right now Michael Voss is ready to throw up because he can't stand that. He's like, policy. And Michael Voss is angry right now. I know. I should have told you that. Get a stick or something to bite on. Don't break your teeth. Yes, I know you're mad. But that's what it is right now. And advantage her. You are correct. Because what's he going to fight vibes? I guess. I mean, look, Trump's good at what he does. He might be able to yell at her about vibes. But yes, that's what he's doing. So yes, absolutely. At the end, the corporate says, hey, Lord Larry. I like that. It's not bad. If I gave you $2 million, I think you call me that. I think you would. Yes. Sarah says, is that how Al Gore ended up working for Kleiner Perkins? I once worked for the Doors. Interesting. I actually don't know that specific, but that makes sense to me, right? That would make sense. But something else Al Gore had that others didn't have. Being both a sitting senator and a vice president for 8 years gives you so many deep connections. Not just in America, but across the world. Al Gore traveled a lot. Clinton did use Al Gore very well when it comes to using vice presidents. Al Gore was one of the best used. He really was used well. He was out all the time. He was meeting people. He knew other places. He was a decent glad hander, not a great one, but he was decent at it. Cheney ran the government, so it wasn't the same with Bush Sr. Pence was not used very well. Pence was used internally, right? He wasn't really used externally. I don't think Kamala has been used at all. She's not really competent. I mean, maybe she is, but I haven't seen it being used at all. Al Gore was used very well. Clinton was very savvy with him. If something was going on, Al Gore was there. Like Al Gore was at the funeral. Al Gore was at the fight. Al Gore was at the place. Al Gore was out everywhere. So he made a lot of connections. So if you want to sell to the country, Al Gore knows the people that you need to talk to, and they trust him because they've gone back and forth. So he can pick up the phone and call this guy. He knows the rules. He knows how things work. He knows other people, so he can make a deal, right? So you want to sell X into this country and then Y into that country. Al Gore's the guy who can make the phone call for both countries to make all that happen. So Al Gore had a massive advantage compared to others, a much bigger advantage because of how he was used. Clinton used Al Gore very well. And again, if I was the VP, I'd want to be used like that. If I'm some VP, please send me everywhere. Let me meet everybody. I'm very good at slapping people, at back slapping. I'm very good. That's one of my skill sets. Very good at that. Send me everywhere. Happy to go. And Al Gore had that. So a little bit different for him. Not all VPs get used that way. Pence was used internally, far more. And if Kamala was used at all, she was used internally. If Harris was used at all, she wasn't used really externally at all. And by the way, so was Biden. Biden was, sorry. You know what? Biden was also used well. I should be clear. Biden was also used well. Clinton and Obama used their VPs very well. Biden was used internally and externally. And some of the external stuff, somebody might get in trouble for. I'm not saying anything, YouTube. I'm not saying anything, YouTube. I'm just saying that maybe some things that were done outside could get someone in trouble. Might have been on the dark side. YouTube, that's all I said. That's all I said. If anybody is a master universe, it's YouTube, not me. But yes. Anyway, you guys understand what I'm talking about. So yes. All righty. Sarah says, I want Kennedy to make his rehab farms czar. Ooh, you could become addiction czar. You could become youth czar. You could become criminal justice czar. Yes, all of those things would work. Sarah, all of them could work. 100%. All of those could work. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Larry, be like I gave you $2 million. I love that. That'd be amazing. I love that. That's good. Yes. All right. Jesse says, if you think RFK is the best choice for third-party voters, why did you run a ticket against him? With Lars and you have dropped out and endorsed RFK? No. Oh my God. Do you know how much I would have loved if Lars had actually won the damn thing? If Libertarians had pulled their heads out of their asses and voted for Lars? You know what would be happening right now? Jesse, you crazy? You know what would be happening right now? If Lars Mapstead, if Libertarians were savvy, and they were not savvy at all, but if they were, they'd listen to me, and they did not. Libertarians never listen to me. They never. I tell them to do, they never listen. I told them in 2022, put the money into me in New York. Don't put it into Alabama and Illinois. Don't do that. Put it into New York. I will get ballot access. I'll do it. And they completely ignored me, screwed me over. Now there's no ballot access in New York State or Illinois. We lost both of them. Well done, Libertarians. Completely screwed that up. They didn't listen to me. They never do. Anyway, besides the point. They didn't listen to me. If they would have, it would have been a Mapstead Sharpe ticket. He would have easily raised $10 million because he is personally wealthy. Plus, he has wealthy friends. Plus, I'd be the number one fundraiser. People love me and want to give me money all the time. I raise money for the PAC that I consult with. I raise tons of money. It's what I do. I've raised over 7 figures for Libertarians since 2016. So 8 years, in the last 8 years. I raised money, 100%. We would have had enough money. And if RFK would have dropped out, everybody throwing money at us right now. Because we were already talking about 5%. We were already talking, to be forward, and it's something that I don't have a problem saying now because everything's changed. Lars Mapstead and RFK Jr. had already met and talked. Lars Mapstead already met Nicole Shanahan, already talked. I knew them already. We already talked. We already knew each other. We all at that point had agreed to the idea of the Stop 270. It's a good idea. Agreed to the idea. Lars was already going to work on 2 areas. We had talked about this openly. This was open knowledge already. We had talked about Lars and I going for the Southern District of Maine and Omaha, Nebraska, focusing all Libertarian money on those 2 areas to get those 2. And then RFK Jr. getting the rest. Yes, that was what I talked about. So contingent election. I talked about contingent election last October. I'm not making that up. Last October, I talked about contingent election, right? So Lars and me would have gotten those 2 and anything else. We were talking at the time about getting Utah. I don't know if that still would have worked, but that was the concept back then. Maybe we'll get Utah too. Maybe we'll work on those, get Utah, whatever. Start raising money, do that. Boom. All that works. RFK Jr. goes out and he'll get like Arizona, Michigan. I forgot what it was. A couple states. And we could have got a contingent election and Bobby Kennedy Jr. might have still won, but it wouldn't have mattered. Libertarians would have got ballot access, would have broken 5%, would have got an electoral vote for the first time ever. Nothing but success, and raised tens of millions of dollars. Life is good. And I was worried that RFK would drop out. Back then, I was worried about it. And I told people that I was worried about it. He might drop out. And if he had dropped out, right, and Lars and me are running, all the people voting for RFK Jr. would have come to us. They would have come to us. We'd have broke 5% easily. I still would have got my 5%. I want third party to get 5%. I've been saying that since 2016 for 8 years. I had hoped that Gary Johnson could do it. I was a surrogate for Gary Johnson. You saw me out there. If you remember 2016, I was on TV for him. I debated for him. I was in the press for him. I raised tons of money for him. I would MC stuff for him and even Bill Weld. I wasn't a big Bill Weld fan, but I loved Gary. So I actually MC'd events for Bill Weld. I raised money for Bill Weld. I was on the game because I wanted 5%. Couldn't get it. I asked Joe Jorgensen about it back in 2020. Uninterested. So I walked away from her. I never said anything bad about her. I let her go do her thing. I actually voted for her. I did. I voted for her. I was like, okay, whatever. I did a I did a well, I guess you would call it a, what would I call it? I guess you would call it a virtue signal vote. But I did vote for her. I voted for her. And then after that, I let that go and I moved on. And then I wanted Lars Mapps to get 5%. He was on board. He was like, yes, let's do it. He was totally on board. Libertarian said, no, we want to fight culture war. Okay. I asked every Libertarian candidate, every other one, I'm not joking, you can ask them, will you do this plan? Every one of them said no. Stupid, got to do 50-state plan, a terrible idea, bad idea. They're all wrong. So I said, okay, I got Joe Jorgensen Jr. for all of them. Fine. I walked away, let them do their thing. I don't say anything bad about libertarians. I'm a libertarian. They are closest to my views. I say it all the time. But none of them are going to get 5%. None of them are going to do any, they're not going to make any impact. I know this. Who can make impact? RFK Jr. If Lars Mapstead and I were still running, we'd be getting the 5% now. It'd be us. Because everybody now talking about RFK Jr. be like, oh, we got Lars Mapstead, Larry Sharpe. They'd all be voting for us now. I would have gotten my 5% either way. So I want my 5% this way. I'll take it. I'll take it any way I can get it. I want my 5%. So I hope that was clear at least. I'll steal a quote from Harris. My principles haven't changed. There we go. So yes. Yep, Mike Vossen would be upset. Yes. Policy should matter most. I knew he'd be pissed off. I knew he would. Yes. Ryan says, Dems have no ideas or plans, but are obsessed with 2025. Sounds about right. Yes. Completely correct. Completely correct. Yes. Absolutely correct. Larry, Kamala's policies point at are whatever will get her elected. True and true. True and true. Yes. Chrissy says, is there a possibility of Trump dropping Vance for RFK? I will tell you the same thing I'd mentioned before. Is it physically possible? Yes. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. So it is, could it happen physically? Could they have a special convention? Vance drops out and they replace him with RFK Jr. If RFK Jr. joins the Republican Party, maybe. I don't think VP. I just don't know their bylaws on that. I think VP would have to, I think RFK Jr. would have to actually be a registered Republican, which he's not. So maybe no, even with that. Could they, in theory, replace Vance? In theory, there is a mechanism to do so. I don't think they could actually replace him with RFK Jr. because I think you have to be a registered Republican to be on the ticket. I think that's true. But they probably have a special rule. I know the Democrats have one. Maybe have a special rule that you could do it without it. Maybe. In any case, is it possible? Yes. Will it happen? No. It's not going to happen. But there is there's always a mechanism. But no, it's not going to happen. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Hey, Larry, will your new titles for the t-shirt? I think no. I think no. I don't think it would. I have too many of them, I think. I think I have too many of them. Yes. So Sarah says, how does censorship and cheating make joy and vibes? It's joy and freedom, Sarah. I don't understand. Why do you hate freedom? I don't know why you hate freedom, Sarah. I don't know why you hate freedom. And why do you want to take everyone's joy away? Why do you want to stop people from having joy and hate freedom? I don't understand you. Why would you do that? Yes. Carly says, Larry, have you ever had Donald Rainwater on your show? I think I did a couple years back when he ran before. For those who don't know, Donald Rainwater, by the way, is a gem in the Libertarian Party. A gem. He's running right now for governor of Indiana. If you are in Indiana and you don't vote for Donald Rainwater for governor, you are making a horrible mistake. That man is smart. He's caring. He's savvy. He's a damn good libertarian. Has a great team. Donald Rainwater is a gem of the Libertarian Party. If you are lucky enough to be in Indiana and be able to vote for him, you should absolutely, and you should give him money too. You should give him money if you live in Indiana, and you should vote for him. I think he got 12%, I think, last time he ran as a libertarian in Indiana. That is how talented that man is. He is great. You should support him. Maybe I will put him on my show again. Thank you for that. All right, let me reach out to him. He's great. Donald Rainwater is amazing. You guys give me all kind of homework now. All right, I'm gonna reach out to him, Colin. I think he's amazing. All right. Justin says our country would be better off with no Patriot Act. Yes, W was the most un-American president I've ever seen. Satanist Skull and Bones. Oh, yes, he was a Skull and Bones guy, wasn't he? Yeah, Yale. Is that right, Justin? I think it was Yale. Yale Skull and Bones? I'm pretty sure it was Yale. Yale Skull and Bones. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. He was not a good president. But again, I think Cheney had so much power over him, like a lot of policy over him. That's what I think. So, all righty. Let's see here. Sarah, thank you for the $5. Oh, already did that one. Sorry, wrong one. Ryan, thank you for the $5. Vibes over policies is not usually a recipe for success. Kamala doesn't have the personality to pull that off. Bill Clinton did. It's a valid point. Bill Clinton was, whether you liked him or not, again, Bill Clinton was super charismatic. I remember being moved when he was, and it's going to give you my age and how I felt, but I remember when he played the saxophone on late night TV. I was like, this guy's cool. Wow. I literally fell for that. I did. I thought he was cool. I didn't vote for him, but I really thought he was cool. I was like, this guy's cool. Like, oh my God, come on now. You gonna do that? Come on now. That was amazing. I mean, he was very cool, very slick. They didn't call him Slick Willie for nothing. The guy had a lot of charisma. I feel your pain. Remember that? You're right, Ryan. I mean, he had a lot of charisma. Harris does not have that charisma. I agree. She doesn't. But Harris has something that Bill Clinton did not have. Harris has so many surrogates who do have charisma, specifically her, Hollywood friends. That's an advantage she has that Clinton does not have. If she uses them effectively, and that's the hard part, if they use those effectively, I think she can make up for it. So I'm going to go to Rumble. Joel says, Larry, did you have Amala Ekpanobi? Is that how you pronounce her name on your show? I thought I was introduced to her content from you. She is a good follow. She wasn't on my show. No, I did an event with her. I was on stage with her along with John McWhorter and Daniel DiMartino at Freedom Fest 2 or 3 years ago, talking about the difference between race, between immigrants and native-born people. So, like, for example, native-born Black versus, say, immigrant Jamaicans, native-born Hispanic versus, say, immigrants from Colombia, that kind of thing. I was a very, and I put that on my YouTube page. You guys care, you can check it out. It's Freedom Fest. Put her name in. She's very savvy, and she's as I am. She's a mix of both, right? My mother was an immigrant. My father was born here. Similar for her. I think her father was an immigrant, but her mother was born here, or something like that. Some mix. John McWhorter is brilliant. Both his parents were here, and Daniel DiMartino, both his parents were overseas. So it was a mix of all of them. And it was a very good panel talking about the difference between how people think differently, how they act differently, that kind of thing. So that's probably where you saw her, Joel. It was from that. I did a panel just recently together. I do a panel on Freedom Fest every year. I'm an ambassador there. This year I did Cornel West and Maz Touré and me, which was on a difference between freedom to or freedom from. Great panel, also brilliant stuff. If you can get a chance to watch it, that's also on my YouTube page. You can put that in, just another great one. And then I did one with Andrew Yang 2 years ago about, believe it or not, ballot access and third parties. So yeah, I did a bunch of them. So all good. Anyway, all righty. Let's see here. Says, love your show. Recent viewer and subscriber here. Oh, thank you. Trump has been distancing himself from Project 2025 by claiming he never read it. Do you believe him? No, I think, of course, he knows what it is. There's no doubt he does. Of course he does. Of course he does. Here's the reality, though. I don't think Trump is anywhere near as right-leaning or conservative as the Heritage Foundation. Now, would he go that route? Yeah, I think he'd want to. I mean, he's still pragmatist in that regard. But I don't think personally, I mean, he's a New Yorker, right? I mean, now he's a Floridian, but he's a New Yorker, right? So New York Republicans are not Kansas Republicans, right? New York Republicans are like Kansas Democrats, right? So it's different. He's nowhere near as right-leaning or conservative as people would think he is or might think he is. He's not. The reason why conservatives like him so much is similar to why conservatives like me. I'm a libertarian, not a conservative, right? But conservatives like me. Why? Because I respect them. I respect conservatives. I have them on my show. I tell them all the time. I respect them. You won't disagree. You've seen Mike Voss on my show. Mike Voss is a conservative Republican. Openly, he says so. Him and I disagree all the time.
I still love him. I have him on my show all the time. I respect him. I help him out all the time. Whenever, hey, come on to my show. Come on. I've been on his show. We've swapped back and forth. Who cares? We help each other. He'll help me out. I help him out. It's all good. No worries at all. So I think that's why. I think Trump just goes, okay, fine. I'll deal with conservatives because they're Republicans and they get me elected. Fine. But I don't think he personally is that. I think he's far more middle of the road in himself, far more compared to hardcore conservatives. Heritage is very conservative. I mean, very conservative. I don't think he's that much. So yes. Christine says, I voted for Jorgensen, but she was so lukewarm. Agreed. It was a vote that was just, I couldn't do anything else. So virtue signal vote. I'm not against virtue signal voting. I'm not at all. But if you can make impact, why wouldn't you? Sometimes you can't. Lita says, I voted for Joe Jorgensen along with you. There we go. There's a couple of them. Yes. Let's see here. Andrew said, did the party of no solutions versus bad solutions switch around on the national level? Ooh, nice one. I've said this before. In New York State, I think it's still true. In New York State, the Democrats are the party of bad solutions, and the Republicans are the party of no solutions. So, but I think maybe it's true. Maybe this has happened. Maybe it rotated. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It rotated. I'd forgotten that, but there we go. There we go. Christine says, I think RFK will have a place in the cabinet, but he'll never be Trump's VP. I agree with that. I think you're right, Christine. I agree with that completely. Yes. Grace says, yes, Bush was a bonesman. Right. Thank you. Skull and bones, bonesman. I'd forgotten that phrase. So was Kerry. Oh, I didn't realize Kerry was a bonesman. Was he Yale? No, he was Harvard, wasn't he? I think Kerry was Harvard and Bush was Yale. Maybe they were both Yale. I actually forgot which one was which. But yes. Yes. All righty. All righty. Let's see if I can grab some more of these here. Sassy D says, I just want to say I love you guys. Let's unite and shock the world. Yes. Missy says, I watched him playing on MTV. I was a Clinton fan. How embarrassing. No, he was slick, Missy. And we were younger. I mean, that was the 90s. We were younger. He was slick, right? I saw him on the Arsenio Hall show. I thought, my God, this guy's on the Arsenio Hall show. He's the coolest guy around. I thought he was cool. I did. I definitely thought Clinton was cool. It's true. Again, didn't vote for him, but I did. I'm with you. I thought Clinton was cool at the time. I completely agree. Yes. All right. Lila says, Bill Clinton bounced the budget. W ruined the budget, even for Republicans. Not bad. Grace says, Arsenio Hall made Clinton with this act. Yes, Arsenio Hall. Yes. There we go. Tears of Us. Clinton was on MTV playing sax. Tons of feels, but little substance. Harris has virtue signals because she's a woman of color. That's it. I agree. Harris plays on that. Clinton has had much more. Even now, I mean, Clinton's like 80 now, and 78, and he still has charisma. Like he still has it. Like he's not the same, obviously, right? I mean, when you're 78, you're not 48, right? I get that. But he still has that. You can still see he has it out there. He still has some of that. So yeah, he definitely has some of that. It's still there no matter what. Chrissy says, if RFK Jr. runs in 2028, what party should he run under? I think the Republican Party has too many candidates for RFK Jr. to win the nomination. If asked, would you be RFK Jr.'s VP? I don't know why he would ever ask me to VP. I have no idea why he would do that. We aren't that close. I've met him several times. He seems like a nice guy. I like him. I don't think we're that close at all. If someone wants me to be the VP, odds are high I'm going to say yes. If they have any chance of victory, odds are high I'm going to say yes if they have any chance of victory. If they have no chance of impact, I'm going to say no. Right? It's the reason why in 2020, I was okay being the VP for Judge Jim Gray if he had won, because Judge Jim Gray agreed with my plan, just as Lars did, of getting the electoral votes, stopping 270. He was 100% on board. And he had funding because he had run as the VP for Gary Johnson in 2012. So I was okay with that. When the Libertarian Party, again, did not pick him and instead picked Joe Jorgensen, I was like, okay, I'm out. I don't want to be this guy's VP. I'm just going to get my ass kicked. I can get my ass kicked all by myself. I've shown the world I can do that. I have done so all by myself. So that's why in 2022, I was on board with Lars Mapstead, because he, again, agreed with my plan. The stop 270, get electoral votes. It is the only way. I've been saying this literally for 8 years. It's the only way a third party can win. There's no other way. He was on board. I was on board. If RFK Jr. was on board with that plan, I would consider it. If he wasn't, no. So we can do this again and get behind somebody else? No.
I have to believe you can make impact. Otherwise, I don't require a vanity project. I have one. It's called the Sharpe Way. I've got my name right here, the Sharpe Way with Larry Sharpe. I have a vanity project. You're listening to it. I don't require another one. I'm good. I've already run for governor. I've already been on Joe Rogan. I've already done the vanity things. I don't require them anymore, right? Maybe 10 years ago, I might have done it for vanity. I don't require it anymore. I'm good. I've done my big stuff already, right? I've already been on TV. I've already run a radio show. I've done all these things. I'm good. Like, I don't require them. I want to make impact, or I'll hang out with you guys. That's where I am. So I think that makes sense. What party should he run with? He cannot run as a Democrat ever again. They will never, ever take him ever again. So no way. He would have to run Republican because independent parties wouldn't trust him anymore either, because he just dropped out, right, and went to the big party. He dropped out, but he dropped from back to the Republicans. So yeah, the independents won't trust him anymore either. So yeah, he'll have to run as Republican or not at all, unless Christie, unless he gets the 5%, in which case he is the reason. He's the reason we got 5%, in which case he basically becomes the party champion. So he could run under the We the People party if he gets the 5%. Without the 5%, why would any other party take him? I'm being very forward. I'm not trying to be mean. Why would the Constitution Party take him? They'd be afraid that he would drop out and go to Republicans, and the Constitution Party would lose their lines. They wouldn't take him. So, and Democrats can't. So it's Republicans or his own line that he would get by getting 5%. So that's why you would do it. Yes. All right. Ryan says, my mother was a rabid conservative Republican. She did not call him Slick Willie. She called him an adjective that rhymes with wig. 100%. I get that too. Look, all I'm saying is the guy had charisma. That's all I'm saying. The man had some charisma. That's all I'm saying. So yes. All righty. Let me grab a couple of these. Alexa says, is it okay Clinton wasn't the worst bad decision made as far as the 90s go? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it's fine. Yes. He still was funny. So yes. Gray says, Kerry graduated from Yale, graduated in 66. He was Yale. Okay. I felt like he was Harvard, but okay, he was Yale. Okay. There we go. I like that. I'll take that. Thanks, Grace. Guys, I want to say one more time, please, if you enjoyed the show and you like what I'm doing, it is very important that you somehow attack that like button with one of your digits. Use your pinky. It's fine. Whatever. Your ring finger. Use your middle finger to say, yeah, take that, YouTube. Whatever. I don't care. But use a finger to click the button that is like. It does matter. Please do so. If you haven't shared it, please share it. Either share it or retweet it or repost it. Whatever is the answer. I don't care. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the page. Click that bell for notifications. Please do that. If you want to really support, you can. Head over to the Larry Sharpe YouTube page. Become a member. Click join. It's $5 a month. It keeps me going. I spend more time doing this and less time consulting. And then keep giving you more and more stories about crazy stuff like how I'm adopted and stuff that you probably didn't know. Those kind of things. So yes, absolutely. Full transparency, even when it's silly. Guys, I will not be on tomorrow, but I will be on Monday, 9 p.m. for my late night Monday show with a panel of cool people talking about culture, music, maybe, I think, or something similar to that. We will see. When this is over, please head on back, as I always ask you. And please put a comment. I will respond to your comment. It keeps the Al Gore rhythms going. That's what matters. Please keep doing that if we can. It does matter. So please do that. So that I can keep the algorithms going. Before we go, let me grab a couple of these real fast. Okay, Sarah says, why can't he run the We the People Party? Because we'd have to actually have one that's viable in 50 states. And that will not happen. That will not happen if we don't get 5%. That's why. He can, but it will be a party that's in like 5 states, which is useless. So we have to make sure he gets 5% so it can be valid in 50 states. That's why he'd run again in 2028. That's why we would need that. Hope that makes sense. That's why you want the 5%. This is Life says, is it 5% from 50 states? No. It is 5%, period. It does not matter where it comes from. Doesn't matter what it's in. If he gets 5%, that's all that matters. If he gets 5%, that's it. It could all come from California in theory. It won't, but it could. Doesn't matter what party. That's all that matters. All right, guys, I'm let you guys all run. I hope I answered all your questions. I will see you guys all on Monday and Tuesday. I will still have my 1 p.m. live call-in show, WYSL Tuesday at 1 p.m., Monday at 9 p.m. Have a great weekend, guys. I will see you all very soon.